damage. Gorilla's on plant killing duty, and level 2 coming in shortly.
There's also something we have to point out about the early wards that happened in the jungle right here. They got to see Peanut taking the blue buff, and they also have another ward in with the Raptors, so they could have knowledge of Peanut all the way through his jungle clear, which gives Blank and the rest of SKT a whole bunch of knowledge about how to play their lane.
Same time though, Blank did get a leash here at the start of the game as well, so both these junglers quite aware of each other's positions.
The interesting thing with the leash though is you can fake a leash as a top laner unless you have actual knowledge of him.
Yeah, but Olaf is so dangerous on that clear just alone. But if you'd fake it, he'd start blue buff, so it's technically possible. Blank right now. Sure. Love this in the range support matchup. It's so
unless you have actual.
It's so strong to get that scuttle crab early on because now they can move the ward up to Tribush. The only caveat is that at least Sin could technically go over the wall, but he would have to find some janky walls to really dodge that double ward there.
Seems like it's not really going to happen, and Peanut was able to actually wait out the trinket ward, and even if it's not specifically scouting SKT, knowing the general habit, saying, oh, Faker put a ward down, Kuro says he left mid lane with trinket, here's the timer, and Peanut's able to jungle without getting directly spotted.
And this is how Peanut honestly snowballed the game when they played against EDG. Rocks Tigers got some information on EDG in a lot of their games early on. Peanut went for a full clear and then went for a level 3 or 4 gank somewhere around their strong lane, usually Smeb. And once he snowballs Smeb ahead, gets that first turret down, that's when he moves his focus to the bottom lane. And with these matchups in mind, they can do a similar style here again.
Yeah, last game they had the early push from the Rumble in the top lane. They synergized that very well. But in that game as well, Blank was much more obvious about where he was. He burned his ghost in mid lane, then meandered up to the top lane to walk into a counter gank. Here he catches him at the Scuttle Crab, and the crisis is somewhat averted.
And with this Scuttle Crab that he took out the Rift Herald pit right now, Smeb can keep pushing up the top lane because he can just ward the brush that he's about to do right now. He doesn't have to care for river wards because the combination of that ward and Scuttle Crab makes him ungankable by Blank, which means he can just unrelentingly push in constantly.
Here's the first attempt at the gank. Peanut gonna ward hop, gonna land an auto attack into the slow. Nice juke by Faker. Stays going to the left, and Peanut's gonna land the Sonic Wave.
At the mind game, so he goes in for the dash, then he tries to fake a Q animation by Eing, hoping Faker would maybe flash if it connects, or juke, or endlessly juke to death. There's so much reverse mind games in that play.
They're so good at juking as well. And Krepo, you and I were talking about this during the quarterfinals with SKT, how many deadly flourishes they dodged from Jhin.
Yeah.
The level of these players of just sidestepping so many of these skill shots is truly the best in the world. And we saw a small example of it right there. The mind games between Peanut and Faker, respecting each other's skills. This during the Faker comes away on top there by dodging.
And it's actually Korean advice, but you gotta just keep clicking so close to your character model so you can do the quicker turns. You see that at Faker, because there's no turn speed in League of Legends, he turns much more often and much more accurately than a lot of players. Right now, Blank trying to repeat the same thing here. Axum to Kuro.
Looking for his play, gets the slow. Kuro this time around, gonna save his summoners, knows that Blank had the juke a little bit too far back towards the lane to grab his undertow again. Peanut there to say, hey, get off my mid laner. But Kuro is down significantly in this laning phase, and Wolf's up to make it even more difficult as Peanut gives over 45 gold.
Yeah, like the roam there for Wolf actually, because they knew the other dual lane was recalling. They're going to be able to shove out the lane by leaving Bang down their solo, and now they get to use him for some ward control in the mid lane, so...
Yeah, well, ward control, they don't bring any wards. Look at their builds. Both of them upgraded Frostfang. They're like, screw the wards. We're the damage dealers now.
Yep. Landing a full combo is 45 gold. It'll accelerate them towards a later site still, but they'll be fairly rich as before. Yeah, both marksmen actually getting very interesting recalls. Bang got a full BF sword. Prey has parts, and yeah, he's going towards Essence Reaver anyway, but not the same level of power right now on this Ashe.
Yeah, and the lane is working out much differently than it was when it was in Ezreal who was paired with Zyra, because Bang's Caitlyn has been able to outrange the MF as well as outrange the Ashe as far as their really small trades as they're trying to CS, and sometimes Rocks Tigers can get the shove in, but then they also can't harass Bang as effectively while Bang is trying to CS. So this support Misfortune pick is actually going to have some pretty real fall off if they can't execute some kills at level 6, and it's a much better choice here by SKT with the Caitlyn.
Definitely, especially when MF tries to follow up on a Make It Rain. It's very easy for Caitlyn to just do an EQ combo, any trap combo, any just source of disengage where they can then follow up with some damage too. That makes it so that Gorilla has to wait for level 6. Remember though, the power spike on the engage is much better for Rocks Tigers, because even if there is Stranglethorns from Zyra, by that time she can very likely already be blown up, because both of the engages, both of the high damage spells outrange the exhaust that Wolf is carrying. So if he eats an arrow, he just gets blown up anyways.
Yeah, not to mention the assistance that Peanut would be able to provide to his gank. There's so much mobility on the Lee Sin with lane ganks with Ashe that if you land the arrow, even if the person has all summoner spells, it's a likely kill because Peanut can probably combo with the damage.
Yeah, keep in mind, he can safeguard to plants, and those things have almost 1,000 range you can place them at for a Zyra, so it is pretty easy for Peanut to get in. Also worth noting, is sort of par for the course.
There it is.
Wolf getting caught at level 4. Here's a jump in, a few more attacks will do it, and that's first blood. Peanut with the flash kick on the bang. That was beautiful, and they make it a double kill for Prey.
And Banks should have flashed that here. We see Blank flanking here, looking for Gorilla. Is he watching?
No way.
Is he going to land it? Just walks into his face. The heal is there, and he's running away with Ghost and Undertow on. Sonic Wave is there. Is he going to do it?
Go.
Is he going to do it?
Is that range?
Yeah. Wasn't able to like safeguard it and make it more.
What an awesome series of events that we just saw right there. Exactly as they're about to ping level 6, they pop Wolf down, who was a little bit even lower on experience because of the support roam. Bang didn't have the flash at the right time. And then even at the very end when Blank goes in for the last kill, just an awesome series of events.
Yeah, but you can see that the pressure is getting to Bang here. There's no way he should die in that exchange. Right now, he should just leave his support to die here.
Bail out.
Just bail. Let him use the heal. Ooh, the Mad Life
Yep.
on that Q and then instant kickback follow-up. Yeah, it makes you wonder. Should have been able to flash that one.
Peanut had just hit level 6 on that approach as well. And then because Gorilla was so low, Peanut, or Blank actually understands his limits right here. Doesn't mess around. Point blank Q, immediately running away. The only thing he could have done to pick up that kill at the end. But still advantage Rox Tigers for pulling off that double kill.
Little thing for Blank. He waited until he applied red buff with auto and then he and 4-4 here supports battle off. But he waited with the axe until he was already close applying red buff, because if the first axe misses, the time it would take for him to pick it up and throw it again would mean his death. So, very well played by Blank.
I got a shot at two things from Wolf, though. One is he could have flashed the air, of course, and failed to do so. But the second one is I believe he actually led Prey through Fog of War when he got that route over the Dragon Pit right there. There were no wards in the actual jungle at the time, so seeing him come up with the river is like, and he's here, and nailed the Womp Rat.
Alright, Arrow's up again. Misfortune Ultimate is up again. They could use it to force just some damage. They don't necessarily need to kill. That's the setup right there. It's the make it rain into the arrow, into the bullet time. That's the combo. They can leverage that poke into a potential dragon. However, it's a cloud break.
Got him again.
There's the stun, there's the volley slow, and all the damage they could possibly need. Gorilla gets the kill. Nothing Wolf could have done outside of getting out of the lane entirely.
And I actually think he should have actually been out of the lane entirely. Or at least at his turret, because the minion wave was already going to push in. Yes, Prey is incredibly accurate with his arrows, and he's making this Ashe pick work, but Wolf without flash and low experience with no heal in the lane needed to be sitting at his turret for Bang to last hit. I count that as a mistake by SKT.
Well, you're seeing those mistakes get exploited, and this is the Rox Tigers that we talked about at the beginning of the show. SKT are a more reactive team, which is not meant as an insult, but that's their style. They're a little bit more slow-paced. Rox is about finding an opening and taking a crowbar to it as fast as possible. And this first pick, Ashe, is that crowbar. It's like, oh, flashless Zyra, let's keep going there.
And Gorilla still doesn't have any boots. He just went for the straight upgrade into 4 wards, using that strut to maybe get some roaming presence. SKT picking up the, honestly, given Fabric here. We gotta keep tracking down Misfortune support here, because he already is playing with 4 wards on the map. That's one extra compared to Wolf. Wolf, no boots at all, you know?
Oh, Peanut shockwave, then rooted into everything. Nicely done. SKT picked one up.
Yeah, beautiful combo right there from Faker and Wolf, understanding their damage. They even got the last hit on the Raptors there, pulling that combo off.
And they track the flashes. That's what you gotta do on the highest level. You see Lee Sin in the pit, probably use this shield rather safeguard on himself instead of saving it for a potential ward up. Likely ran out of wards. Now Wolf.
Don't pull the trigger on actually going for it. Gorilla had no ulti.
Yeah, and the story of this game also kind of syncs up with the story of these two teams, whereas Rock Tigers have a superstar in the top lane with Smeb, and they play through their bottom lane often, whereas Faker is just a pressure machine in the mid lane. So it's SKT now with the 1 kill on Faker and support control, trying to play through mid, whereas Rock's trying to play on the side lanes.
Not the most beautiful equalizer. Gets a 0 for that one. But it's still a 500 gold advantage, putting Rox Tigers ahead. You mentioned Faker being a pressure machine. You see he's up 20 minions right now, getting what chip he can on that mid turret. Maybe we'll see some more pressure soon.
But there's only 600 gold in the lead right now for the Rox Tigers. And they don't have that pressure mid lane, so they need to break open this tier 1 turret bot lane, just like they did in the last game. That is what will accelerate the game, what will allow them to move their Ashe to the mid lane and pick some Faker. Right now Peanut finds himself at least swayed it off that jungle creep. Blank aggressively defending, that's what they need to do. SKT cannot yield their own jungle again to Peanut.
I absolutely agree with that, and they can't yield this bottom turret. They have to be so careful not to get caught in the combo again!
The combo's there. Wolf's running out of help, but there's not enough damage to deal, really. Gorilla, if he got trapped up, might have been comboed out, so Bang putting in some proactive damage, and not a full bullet time.
Look how afraid they are of actually hitting the turret. Very little chips going that way.
Yeah, notice the hawk shot flew through the jungle of SKT, which I actually found a little surprising since they would have seen Blank
Earlier.
in the top side earlier. So a bit of a wasted hawk shot, I feel.
This is
getting jungle timers.
just not the perfect flow of information. Honestly, very hard to do. You know, trying to micromanage this lane, talking between each other, praying Gorilla of when they're gonna pull the trigger on the combo, actually landing all the skill shots while keeping track of the enemy jungle. Very hard.
But this pressure's finally working out. It's an individual 1,000 gold lead for Prey. The Make It Rain making Bang's life a little bit difficult, and 2 more autos will do it. First turret of the game, 13 minutes in. Nicely done, Rocks Tigers.
Watch Gorilla step in for a little bit of extra gold as well. He's not giving up any gold to his AD carry right now. He is definitely in the running for damage dealt here.
And you can see Smeb trying to figure out what's going on up here. Of course, Duke waiting in the brush as well, but there's no junglers for either side. Smeb won't know the sun is coming, and he's not going to be able to juke away from it. So a nice early engage here by Duke. Gets Smeb down to half HP. And how much more can he really get? That's it.
Those are the kind of mind games that really swing the pressure in the top lane, especially as
Wolf. Well, he had Blink around him.
Wolf's
Flash down.
not having the greatest game. It's quite annoying to play Zyra into this matchup, especially when you fall behind. Like you want to get vision, but you're still a ranged support into a Victor. Your team wants you to play Zyra, and even picks MF. You know you're gonna die because nobody's gonna hit your AD carry. This is such a hard pick to play because if you play too careful, respecting all this engaged, you may just yield too much pressure, already making it worth it for Rocks.
Arrow once again.
Oh, this time around he's able to juke it. Oh, the flash Q though, Pino wants it, but the exhaust is enough! And the shield in from Faker. Wolf will survive it.
Because that was red buff on Peanut, he would have died if it weren't for the shield.
Faker definitely coming in clutch at the end there, but Wolf with the exhaustion. You talk about, Greppo, the difficulties that Wolf has had to undergo, but that's actually the first arrow he's been able to sidestep. He now has boots of mobility to give himself a little bit more leeway with being able to dodge some of these arrows. And again, we're in this situation. It's not as extreme as the last game, but where Rox is trying to take that Ashe and Misfortune and move it around the map to advantages. I feel like SKT is in a better position this game than they were in the last.
Definitely agree. It's a much closer game here on this one. SKT coming around in this one, looking for the fight on a Smeb. He's going to have to flash away from the stun, but Blank Slow is there, and Smeb has no other way of getting out. That's the kill picked up. Duke makes it 3-3, and the top lane's looking a whole lot better than it was before.
And that's the difference. Last game, they had double teleport, so they could keep committing to this arrow bot lane that could just keep making picks off and get a turret, get an objective, even get 2 turrets. Right now, they were playing under a single teleport. Smeb has not found an opportunity to leave the lane as Rumble, and going even in this matchup, or even just going up 10 CS, is beneficial for the Echo later into the game.
Quick slow on the Faker. You're seeing the way SKT playing this game is quite a bit different. Wolf has been out of the bottom lane for quite a while now. 4-level difference compared to his AD carry. Just roaming, trying to find plays to make.
Yeah, note that Smeb had actually used his ultimate beforehand, which made this a pretty safe gank when you're considering it for SKT. They land the first axe, post-flash. Blank has actually had great patience with his undertows thus far.
Oh, man. That's flash out of Bang, but he's still slowed down. There's the harpoon, there's the chase down, and Gorilla's going to make it rain. In the bullet time, and it's going to be all the damage he needs. Gorilla getting the kill.
Because Gorilla played it smart. He flashed in for the love tap right there, then made it rain, slowed him down, guaranteeing his ulti would be up the entire time. I didn't see where the heal from Bang went up.
8 seconds left on the cooldown when he died. So very close margins there as Rox is able to pick up another kill. Still just 2,000.
Oh, that shockwave was way better than it could have been. It actually slows down Peanut as well, and it means Kuro's out of that one.
And again, Rox, when do they go on the aggressive? Right before the objective spawns. So this teleport essentially secured them another dragon here. So they always tie in their aggression with objectives, and that's how do you play early in competitions. Just kills, not enough. The kills and objectives could be enough to leverage Elite large enough to combat whatever scaling advantage SKT have.
Yeah, that's the perfect balance. They have the pressure in the bottom lane. And it was clever how they ran Smeb there, even though his teleport was down. But now they're looking to catch him out.
Strangle Thorns to guarantee the rest of it lands. Wolf goes for the 100% secured combo.
Duke.
It does go to Duke. Blank gets an assist credit. Sunfire Cape hit him. Congratulations there. Cinder Hulk, I should say. But arrows coming in. And of course, it's going to hit Wolf. But how much more can they get? Oh, they're going to get the kill.
Feels bad, man. You go for a cross-map play, you catch the enemy top laner, you just use his teleport, everything's great, you even out that dragon somewhat, then an arrow hits you.
Gets him back on the plane. Yeah, the ulti was already down. He used it to get away from Prey's slows, and that's going to be the quick 2 for 0. Rocks in even more control.
I mean, Rocks, they keep switching up the side of the map that they play on. They finished the objective in the bottom lane of tier 1, so they left Bang alone. So even though they were a member down, they were still in a numbers advantage because they had the pick potential with the arrow, because they keep moving in bigger units, like they continuously move as 4 or 5 men.
Yeah, and then the question is, can you transition those kills into objectives? So far for Rocks, it's been absolutely yes. They can get this turret down right now, and even though SKT was pushing the mid and bottom lane turrets, they only chip it. They don't actually convert into gold.
Yeah, again here, Smeb, he moves back to the top lane because his bot lane is basically saying they'll match him. He goes a bit too far. Honestly, this is Smeb overextending, but the reaction immediately here. Look at where Prey and Gorilla are right now. He sends out his arrow from so far. This is like, yeah.
Peanut gets spotted on a ward, doesn't care. If this arrow lands, it's good. It was the blue trinket that also helped them with the vision there. Once you get the long stun onto Wolf, it's an easy pickings for Peanut. And then Blank running out this way, you know his ultimate's down. Peanut can extend the play afterwards because he didn't have to use his kick. Beautiful counter by Rocks after Smeb fell.
Totally agree. And that first pick, Ash, you're seeing it really pay off. Funny thing is, it's Gorilla who's the one being part of everything. 100% kill participation here on the support Misfortune. The counter pick to Zyra, so far so good. And now it's the mid lane siege, 2-0 in turrets. And Duke's gonna answer that one pretty quickly now. Top lane has just been, it's been counterpicked and it's been pressured enough that SKT are finding at least 1 point of leverage.
You know, at this point, SKT, they need an answer because Ash is arrowing every single
And
time.
Bang's running out of health much too quickly.
And this is why Rocks has first picked the Ashe. They're making so many plays with this combination.
All 7 kills, honestly, feel like they have had Prey involved, even if he didn't get an assist on one of them. Look at the enemy bot lane. 0-6 right now for Bang and Wolf. This Ashe Zyra lane needs to get answered by SKT, likely in the draft phase, likely with a ban.
Yeah, Prey has been playing Ashe for 6 years, and even though he hadn't been playing it early on in this tournament, the Ashe arrow's been what stayed the same the entire time. You just aim it, he knows the angles, and it's more than just clicking it on the person, because he's finding these SKT players against walls and in corridors where the likely place of retreat isn't possible unless they flash, and oftentimes he's throwing it at people with summoner spells that are down.
That's the best thing about watching people who excel at champions. They know how to put people into either dodge patterns, guaranteeing hits, or they get so good at predicting how people react to it. It's the same with like Bard ultimates, it's with Blitzcrank's hooks. If you can put them next to a wall, you eliminate the dodge in one direction. You then put the skill shot slightly higher in the other direction, they get hit. They just physically can't move out unless they flash. It's such a good play. And then Prey, for Fog of War, always angles his arrow just slightly, indicating, no, I think you're going to juke into it ever so slightly once it pops on your screen, and then it's too late to dodge.
Yeah, it's always very interesting. I think statistically, more skill shot reliant champions get worse in higher tiers of play. You have famously champions like Ryze, where it's like, oh, for your average platinum player, it's 42% win rate. For professionals, every single game, because it's all targeted skills that pros can't dodge, because pros are so good at dodging skill shots. And Prey, on a champion who must land skill shots to be worth picking, is able to do so against the literal best players in the world. And you can't hype up enough how hard this normally is for your average player to land skill shots on players like Bang and Wolf.
But with all that in mind, it is only, let me say only, 3,000 gold lead here. SKT do have scaling components. Their mid scales very well. Smeb right now in a bit of trouble. He needs to get out of here.
And he's able to do so, but burns his flash and his ulti for it. Smeb has been the target of most of SKT's aggression.
So this is no flash on Smeb, and Duke is sitting on 2 kills already. He is the saving grace. Honestly, coming into the series, expected to be the weak point, but SKT need to rely on him right now and his side lane pressure on the Echo to drag him back into the game.
I find it fascinating how SKT has had Duke in positions where he needs to be the side lane pressure for them to have the game stalled out right here. Blank doesn't have his ultimate, but he is still very tanky.
He doesn't care.
They might try and turn this around if they had the right flank. And it's interesting here, right? Because the 3,000 gold advantage, for most teams, if you think Rox is 3,000 gold up, you think, game is over. But SKT is the best team in the world at playing from behind, and they also have some tremendous scaling in this game. The Zyra, who can scale into a massive damage dealer, compared to the Misfortune, who kind of falls off a bit of a cliff. Orianna, Caitlyn, Olaf, Echo, all these things can scale into advantageous matchups if they can continue the items to just match what Rox Tigers have. So even though Rox has the lead, there's no way this game is over.
Absolutely agree, especially when you've got these points of pressure that are in different spots. Duke has had priority over his one-on-one matchup against Smeb for the last several minutes now. Yes, Rox can land arrows, but Duke can keep pushing.
Let's follow the players on the map here. Smeb based, and he ran down towards his team because he's no longer in the top lane, because this is again what Rox is doing. Once they see an objective or potential pick opportunity, they play a more compact style of league, and Duke actually realized it. Instead of pinging the top wave, or instead of going to the top wave that he pinged earlier, he's actually joining his team immediately for contesting that objective in that dragon.
Yeah, they don't want to be spread out and get picked off by an Ashe Arrow here, because that's where Rox could win the fight. But if they group up, SKT feels like they have a decent chance. They have a Luden's Echo just completed on Faker. That is a massive 2-item power spike, and SKT is going to hope to find a big fight.
They're pressuring in mid first. They're going to have that wave pushed in. They're going to force Rox to react to them. Blake can't find the slow. There's the arrow, but it's onto the tank. SKT are fine with that one, and that's one of the big tools down.
So this is good for SKT. They can go in.
Oh, misses!
Oh, a lot of damage, and Wolf's going to burn to death already. That's a 1-for-0. How much more will Rox get? Does Peanut chase it into blank? He does not.
This is not Wolf's game.
No.
He's been getting hit by all the Ashe Arrows, and then he flashes in to miss his skill shot, and the engage is fumbled away by SKT. Rox going for the second Ocean Drake.
Yeah, he felt like he had to make the play, but there was definitely merit to patience for SKT. They had control over the mid lane. The objective wasn't started. It's not like it mattered so much.
Never mind.
Here we go.
That actually does force the flash out of Bang. You know Peanut's crazy. He'll go for that now. Gorilla, beset by Duke, has to flash away. So several summoners burn, but the re-engage is there, and he gets playing only into the wall. Peanut flubs it a bit and gets turned around.
No, 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 you don't go try and solo Bang. He
Not
was
yet.
able to back up right there, and Faker got the shield from over the wall.
Yeah, not yet. He did it last game, was looking for a repeat play, but that's Peanut in a nutshell. He will have some failures, but he keeps going for all these plays. And overall, if you look at a series-wide, he generally has much more successes than failures, which make it work. This one, though, he got the flash. Yep, then he wanted more.
Yeah, he knows that the flash is down on Bang. He lands this, but doesn't account for the 90 caliber net. Can't kick flash in time, but even if he could, Faker's still going to be able to get over there.
I think the trap, he got onto a trap that slowed him down. He knows. He's like, my bad, boys.
Oh. Now it's pressure back on the mid side. Wow, Duke deletes one, but it's a trade as well. Both supports are dead, and now Duke is being chased. Gets back onto Prey. Does he have the damage? Yes, he does. It's a shutdown. But now it's the Equalizer trying to hope the fight is just that. Maybe it's a 2-for-2. The flash chase curls there. The slows are there, and he will get the kill, a shutdown. 2-for-2 overall.
And we can see almost the fatigue or just the rapid pacing of the series starting to influence these players. The fact that you get hit by an Echo ultimate where you can clearly track the ghost. You know, so many of these pickoffs have been visible to either teams, but these small mistakes. Wolf flashing in.
They really wanted to finish off this mid lane turret. The Asher actually lands on a Faker, but that pulls the rest of SKT in. So then Prey just has to flash forward onto Wolf, knowing all the damage is gone out of the fight. Impressive of Duke to be able to salvage this one, kill Gorilla, then ult back onto Prey, who wasn't respecting the clone. And yes, Rox runs it down, but to get a 2v2 in that situation, I think is actually fortuitous for SKT.
I have to take that back though, because the clone wasn't actually visible because he came from the teleport. That was the frame. The clone spawned in the lane because it was still in the fountain. He didn't know when it was going to come down, so he essentially has to count down 4 seconds from when the TP lands.
That's just beautiful from Duke.
That's actually insane from Duke, because if he does that a second too early, he flies back into the fountain.
And we see that all the time from Echoes who teleport into fights and then want to use their ultimates. So.
And if he did it 0.5 later, he would have missed. So that is actually frame perfect from Duke.
And beautiful stuff right here. 2,500 gold separates these teams. It is a narrow margin. And yes, Rox have better scaling than they did in the previous game. I would say that their threat's not quite as high, and that is a nice Duke by Bang.
Yeah, great sidestep. And as effective as the Ashe Arrows have been for Prey thus far, the effectiveness is going to diminish a little bit. because SKT is finally getting some things to help themselves. So far, they haven't done much to help themselves. No cleanse on their mid laner, no QSS, and you're not building Mikhails on Zyra because you want to build the Andrews. Soon, Bang will have his QSS, Olaf will always be able to use his ultimate to get out of it, and Duke is becoming tanky enough to absorb it. So the number of viable targets for Prey is diminishing throughout the game.
In addition to that, they can also just use decent posturing and like making their ranks efficient. If they have people with Faker behind them, Faker can just shield whatever target gets hit. He can likely survive. Put Duke in front, put Blank in front, or a Blank rather in front, and then suddenly Bang doesn't even need to buy QSS. He can just hide in the backline.
Yeah, they have an incredibly strong front line with the Orianna.
Yeah.
It's very similar to what they did in Game 1 when they had the Trundle, Olaf, and Orianna. So very strong late game team fighting that SKT is extremely confident in.
SKT, meanwhile, have moved into the 4-1. They've taken control of the river area. There is no vision in that Baron. There is no Poo Trinket right now available either. They have perfect vision control. Rox is contemplating a face check, but SKT...
Ghost!
They want to get mid control first. This is step 1. They will push out mid here, and then likely retreat into the area.
Equalizes on, they want this was going to Faker as well, and he's just gone. Gorilla gets the credit, of course, why not? 11-7, no mid laner.
The target that he had to hit! They could not just keep the tanks in front of Faker. Faker was the one who gets caught there, and this could mean a lot for Rox.
It could mean a lot. Kuro's going to stop Duke from getting away from anything. Duke's going to set up for the fight, and Kuro says, you're right, that's enough for me, that's fine. Our team has control of top jungle, let's take it over.
And if Rox didn't pull the trigger right there, they would be in an impossible scenario where SKT had mid-wave clear and complete control of Baron. That was such a good trigger.
But now it's a 5v4 at Baron without Orianna. SKT doesn't want to give it up, though. Baron low.
3,000 health. Blank's not in range. He doesn't have flash. He's going for it now. Can he get it?
Early.
No, he can't. He's just popped right away. That's a secure Baron. It should not be stolen, and it will be secured. Rox make the play perfect.
And we just have to state it time and time again. Rox, they make the perfect play, but at the right time as well. Any earlier, any later, it would have been a bad reaction, but they catch the person they have to catch in Faker. If they would allow SKT to retreat into the fog of war, it would be so hard for them to face check into this Orianna, but they just aggressively challenge this minion wave battle in the mid lane with another beautiful arrow from Prey.
Yeah, and also, Blank really should not have been running in there to try and steal that Baron, but we have to see the pick itself. Blank burned his Ghost early, and then Faker runs up away from the Make It Rain and the Equalizer as he's just getting drilled by the Ash Arrow.
Yeah, we need to look at the goal of this play. SKT was trying to control the mid wave first, and then retreat back to their Baron bait that they had so elaborately set up in the last 2 minutes. They had pink wards, they had completely swept out the vision. There was no vision for Rox. If this play failed, maybe a Hawkshot could save them, but that would have been it. What a beautiful counterplay here by Rox Tigers.
Let's see what else they can get now, because Baron buff is on. They've earned 400 gold above what the Baron itself would give them. See how much more can happen. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on this Baron buff. Plenty of time to make plays and stretch that gold lead.
And we would also be remiss if we didn't talk about Kuro's Victor, because it has almost always been his most reliable and best champion. And even though Faker's been able to get some pressure in the side lanes, when Rox have been able to get these picks, the fact that he's picked up 4 kills cannot be overlooked. Victor has tremendous late game scaling, especially when cutting through tanks, because the damage that Victor puts out in the late game is massive. So especially when he completes Death Cap, it's one of the highest AP mid laners you can get in the game, and is the biggest difference we mentioned in the team composition. You take out Karma, you add Victor, and they have much better late game scaling with which to add to this 6,000 gold lead.
Yeah, you take away of the early punch here, but you at least have a late game insurance in case it goes wrong. Stylistically, it just fits Kuro so well as a player. Relatively passive in lane, doesn't always want to push. But that's fine, Rox Tigers have been fine playing around it.
Ooh, the Shockwave puts Prey into a trap as well, and the deletion is there. Nicely played. Duke getting a bit low, but he's finding that Guardian Angel Curl, putting a bit of damage, and actually, no, they will pop the GA. Bullet Time gets some damage. They cannot quite get Blank. Then Duke revives up, but still a bit of time to play with. It's a 5v4, and even despite that, SKT's low enough that Rox continue to have control over this turret, and they knock down one with this Baron.
And that's honestly the mark of a great team, knowing that while you're a man down, you may just have the resources to still win that fight 5v4. Beautiful combo here, trap.
Yeah.
Prey after the Shockwave.
Prey was getting pretty greedy there, trying to get hits in near those Caitlyn traps, but also he did have flash up while that Shockwave was hitting, so thought he was out of range, wasn't quite, does get punished, but I agree with you, Crepo. Just the strength of Rox to know, even though they'd lost their AD carry, Shockwave was down, the rest of SKT's teamfight wasn't super threatening, and they could continue to stay in.
And that for me was one of the best things about SKT when I first started discovering them. They would be so good even in deficits, especially around early dragons, where they would lose a member, but the opposing team would use so many ultimates to get that one pick that SKT would masterfully fight out the remaining 4v5 and win. So Rox, reminiscent of that strength here in the duel, where they may finally be able to beat and best SKT in a best of 5.
And it's worth pointing out as we siege into the top
Ash
lane,
Arrow.
and Asher coming in, gonna get dodged away from. It's now just
Teleport from Duke.
top side.
And they know Ash isn't here, so they're actually going to push really hard to try and get onto Kuro here. He's got a flash.
Well, when the Kuro, he's got flash, he's got ulti, but he's not gonna burn these spells just yet. He's running out of health way too rapidly, and Blake's gonna pick him off. The shutdown is there, and Gorilla's now just putting bullets into Duke. How much can they really get? Ooh, bullet time does a lot. It forces flash out, and now Prey is here. Exhaust is on. One kill picked up, a Faker gets it back on the Gorilla. Smith running out of health and gets shut down as well, but Prey, does he find the targets? Peanut has Guardian Angel. Maybe he plays frontline. How much can they really get? Prey turns it back around. Looks at Bang, looks for it all. He's got one. What else can he get? It's going to be Blake in his sights.
He's coming back.
Baker's low. How much more can they get? The stun's coming in, and it's Duke with the big play. But the turnaround from Prey, turning it back in. The chase, the resonating strike, and the ace goes through for Peanut.
These fights are out of control this game. Rox Tigers and Prey in particular, time and time again. When you think an AD carry might go back, Prey stays in and he comes out on top.
Oh, we're in a World Tournament with so many great AD carries. Wondering who will be on top at the end. Prey is definitely making a statement here. All-Star Jet, as you pointed out, they know Ash is not here. They run at Kuro. Look at Peanut, he's waiting for Blank to get the OF ulti to timeout. That's what he's hoping for, a good kick, but he stays too close, takes some damage. The turnaround potential of MF is huge, but SKT, they survived up until this point.
And the Black Cleaver on MF actually does a lot of work right here as far as getting a lot of poke down. As Prey arrives, they instantly kill him, and then the rest of this fight is just such slim margins as SKT try to come through. The Hurricane Ash right here. Prey waits in Fog of War, gets a bunch of damage off.
Gets a bunch of damage, flashing aggressively when he knows. Look, he's gonna track, by the way, the parallel convergence in the next phase of this play. He moves out, moves in when the Lee Sin is about to spawn to give him an option, sees parallel convergence, sidesteps out of it, goes for Faker, and then turns towards Duke. This is well played.
And then Duke and Faker, you have to threaten the higher threat target, which is going to be Prey. I think it's a misplay at the very end of that fight by Duke to go for the Lee Sin instead of Prey. That might not have been the difference, but it definitely would have helped. Rox with a huge team fight win.
That was a 2 versus 4. At the end, it was turned around. You can see plenty of damage. That 5,000 damage Ash of Prey. Yeah, that was absolutely huge. Looking at the arrow to slow down Duke. Looking for a bit more. It's Blank in the chase, but can't find much more.
Yeah, OF ult to use. Faker's in the mid lane. We see a flank from the Victor. Faker no flash either. If he gets a slow applied to him, he's going to be a goner too.
Uh-oh.
Blank's down an ultimate, so they might try to go here.
Not a lot of tools to get away. Has to run through the equalizer. Big shot comes out of Kuro. How much more can he find? It was SKT able to kite away and not take any more Chaos Storm damage.
A lot of big cooldowns used by Rox. They also have triple Ocean Drake, so any poke that they land onto them will be refunded, but the cooldowns are still very real for Rox Tigers. And Baron is up in 25 seconds. SKT should have time to heal up and run out here, but they will be trying to do it without vision, which makes it incredibly difficult to harass.
So if you look at SKT right now, they have such few wards into their own jungle that now belongs to Rox. They have to face check essentially every single brush. They know some key cooldowns are down. They will be happy once they spot these members in the mid lane. Prey just used a Hawkstone, very tense situation right here.
Yeah, Rox mostly recalled their team after completely warding up the top side jungle. They can use those wards to buy themselves some time. A lot of the recalls came in. They've come back in the mid lane now with a refreshed Sightstone, and we'll see what more Rox can get as they are the team with the lead, with the ability to control the map.
And control the map, they will. Prey has been so good with the Ash arrows, and Curl's also at a point now where if he gets another angle, like we just saw, you see he completely removes SKT from a fight. So Rox doesn't actually need to win a team fight, they just need to kill one person, and then they can actually force the Baron.
But let's go over the strengths of SKT right now. How do they win? Well, they put Duke in the side lane and have him duel. When's the last time we've seen Duke aggressively push out a side lane and threaten the map? Honestly, 20 minutes ago it feels, because Rox is keeping the map so compact, they're not allowing him. It's even Faker that just pushed out the bottom lane here because the immediate threat of Rox here. They just put so much pressure on every single step that SKT takes.
And that means SKT doesn't have the time to push out the side lane, and it draws them towards the Baron. Look, once again, they go straight for it. They're trying to draw SKT towards them. They're burning it down.
It's dead too fast. There was no chance for him to come in. Arrow comes through, and well, it's just gonna hit the Banshee's Veil. That's Blank losing an item passive, but who really cares? SKT shoving down mid.
SKT's trying to cut them off right here, not fearing the Baron immediately.
I mean, there's always Equalizer right here for the Rox lineup. They can always get rid of the minion waves, but they're looking for more aggression. What a beautiful Baron again by Rox. Their awareness around objectives is so impressive.
And SKT's still looking to stab, hoping that maybe Rox splits up a bit. Victor's actually over in the western jungle, so there's moments of a 5v4. Gorilla checking with rushes.
There's a chance that SKT would try and play around Elder Drake, but the play that SKT just tried on the Rox Tigers is getting turned around on them. They have a clear path up mid lane with Baron. They can get the inhibitor. The only way SKT stops them is fighting them from the rear.
And they can try. Kuro has to slink around the far outside. Inhibitor turret's already gone. SKT, when will they choose to go in? The front line's in place. Duke is looking for something, but he's not going to get Frey, who plays far enough back that it's not even a problem. But now, Rox's escape is through a turret if SKT can find their way in, but they cannot. Rox out with an inhibitor take clean into the top lane.
And this must be a very easy game for the observers, because with one single swoop, they can always track the entire Rox lineup. These guys are always 5 together here, combating the 4-1 nature of SKT, because they have hard CC embedded in their comp. SKT only have kind of conditional CC. It's really hard for them to target that.
They hit Arrow onto Faker. The flash chase. Peanut doesn't have enough damage. The knockups are there, but Peanut won't go down. Bang finally gets a shot, but it's only Guardian Angel down. Smeb's running out of health, and that's still not going to be a kill thanks to the heal from Prey. Nobody's dying from Rox Tigers, but it might just be that for SKT. The Chaos Storm is in. A bit more damage on a Blank. Almost gets him down, but he slinks away with about 10 HP. Still, control over this with the Ocean Drake regenning. Peanut looking for a hit Nexus turret.
And the Ocean Drake is actually insane in this push right now. They continue to push. No one on SKT has died, but Rock's getting so many turrets.
Getting a lot of damage. Duke on the backside looking for the duel against Prey, running through some minions to get him more time, but he's trapped inside the minion wave. Playing so well for Rox Tigers. Guardian Angel gonna pop, but what else can he even do? And it's nothing. Peanut gets a shutdown on a rampage. 18 to 11 here. 11,000 gold up. Rox Tigers looking to push more.
And their ultimates will be coming up shortly. Arrow again.
Blank did not have his ulti available, but it was short enough that the stun wore off no matter what. Last Nexus turret is down. Looking to make it 2-1 in the series. Rox going for the play. Another kill comes through for Peanut. There's the Nexus, and it's 2-1 Rox Tigers. They are one game away from breaking the curse.
What a game, honestly. Again, the Ashe Zyra being the pivotal two champions in this draft here, and allowing also Peanut to just play his game. Again, he arrives early in the bot lane, combining that Ashe Zyra with some pressure. The second that tier 1 falls in the bot lane, you could see immediately how much more pressure the Tigers have on the map.
Yeah, and I love the way that the Tigers closed out this game. They actually seem to be a lot cleaner than in game 2. Prey consistently landed those Ashe arrows, and they have some swagger now.
Yeah, look at Peanut. He's just jumping down. He's basically gesturing towards the crowd. One more game. It's a dangerous thing to do. Yeah, I've done it twice. I've lost the one more game multiple times as well, so I really hope it doesn't happen for Peanut, but they have confidence right now.
And Rox Tigers have fallen in the last 3 best-of-5s they played against SKT. Never have they had 2 wins up in the series.
They've only had 2 wins in total.
Yeah, and now they have 4, so they've doubled it in this series alone. So you can see how they feel like they're kind of overcoming a demon that has been plaguing them for so long. With play like the way Peanut's been doing, the way Prey and Gorilla have seemed to kind of solve this bottom lane with the pick after pick, SKT have to change things up in this next one because they tried...
So sure that they're going to fire that arrow on level 6. Why don't you have your jungler waiting in the wings? Yes, there's a lot of good hawk shots, but maybe just tell them, you can't go for this play, not 3 times in a row.
There we have it.
Or you can just ban.
You first ban Misfortune. Of course you first ban Misfortune. It's against Rox Tigers. You have to do this.
Yeah, now the question is they probably still ban Aurelion Sol, and potentially they ban Jace as well, with the Jhin ban being what they drop. That will leave Ashe open if they decide to do that, or maybe they let Faker play into Aurelion Sol if they think Rox is going to early pick it, because that also stops Rox from being able to get a mid lane counter pick for Kuro. A lot of different strategies that Koma could take here.
Definitely, I expect Aurelion Sol to kind of just go out the window, especially now that Ryze and Syndra are out as well. Faker doesn't have a history of playing it. It's just you don't want to introduce such a large variable this point in the game. If SKT was 2-1 up, I could actually see them leaving it open.
And yet another mid lane ban from Rox Tigers, making sure Faker can't play Cassiopeia. I like that tweak because he's been super good at it. The question is now, Nidalee was unbanned.
Yeah.
So Bengi, unless they want to give it over to Peanut, has to play the Nidalee.
And he has to perform. We haven't seen this champion
Locked in.
really go off in this tournament because it's been banned so often.
And two of the losses that Rox Tigers had in the group stage were to Nidalee. They lost to CLG and Albus Nox playing this champion.
And it gives Ashe Zyra straight over to Rox Tigers. They're probably going to play Caitlyn Karma against it. But it's so interesting, too, because you wonder, you know, how has Bengi been able to train as Nidalee? He didn't play it during the regular season. He's not known as a Nidalee player. You can't practice the champion in solo queue because it's permabanned there as well. So they would have had to be playing a lot of, or some scrims with Bengi on Nidalee to try and train this up to a point where they're confident first picking it in what could be an elimination game at Worlds.
Yeah, but it's a good jungler to play into two low mobility targets still. Nidalee, spears are sidesteppable, but having another gap closer gives you the security to go for that play. An early gank, plus a curtain call could just guarantee these spears hitting, you know? It's just so hard to eliminate these options. And again, this is a combination down bottom that can vastly outrange the Zyra if she wants to get picked off right there. So that is the counter to that.
Yeah, and it also depends how much SKT want to mix this up. Faker has played a decent amount of Karma in the mid lane, and they can easily flex that there for him as well. And it's not just that Bengi isn't necessarily like capable of playing Nidalee, but it also doesn't fit SKT's style very well, where their soul lanes are such heavy farms. So a big change. I cannot emphasize enough how different this SKT team will look coming into this game 4.
Wow, and the early Victor pickup. We're going to see another Victor-Orianna matchup, so likely leaving the top lane pick for last because their bot lane's been performing so well. Victor is a fine champion in a very pinched mid lane meta, which means you can give Smeb what he wants, which is the counter pick top lane.
Yeah, and just based on the way this draft phase is going, Crepo, it definitely feels like SKT have been backed into a corner. Rox has played this series so well, they forced the Misfortune ban, they completely changed what SKT has done. Blank wasn't playing well, they have to sub back in Bengi. While they're on blue side, they're forced into a first pick Nidalee. All these things are things that SKT, you feel like they almost have to do, and it's going to be really hard for them to fight their way out.
But at the same time, SKT's drafts have always been at least fine. The gameplay is what mattered the most here. A lot of these plays were technically avoidable, counterable, but there was no initiative on the side of SKT.
Yeah, they've been the victims of many attacks by the Rox Tigers, but you also look at the way, even if their drafts have been fine, look at all the changes they are making. So clearly SKT thinks they need to make large adjustments in this phase of the game, and this is a pretty massive departure from what we've seen from them thus far.
I like it though. I like Zilean, especially. It just fits stylistically against an Ashe. Targets gets picked off, you revive it. You have a weak early laner in Victor, should probably get pushed in by the Zilean in that matchup. You have just a block in the top lane, the Gnar. When all else fails, just pick Gnar again. Make sure he gets into the game, speed him up in the team fights. At least you have some crowd control effects there because you're playing with a jungler that is purely damage focused and doesn't have CC.
And the hover right now is on the Rumble here. 30 seconds to go until that one times out here. It just feels like time and again, Rox get everything they could want, and as the team that's playing better, this feels good for them to close this out.
I almost want to see a Poppy here, just into the Gnar for Smeb, but he feels like he just wants to be more of a damage threat.
Too bad, Crepo, he's going Rumble. That once again.
Sucks for me. But yeah, he has if he does the same thing he did in the last few games, which is switch up the lanes he goes to, doesn't use his teleport, just goes to the lane immediately, plays around enemy teleport advantage very well, uses Fog of War, then I'm so happy with this Rumble pick because I want to see more great Smeb plays.
And I'm really excited as well for the jungle matchup overall. It's funny because we keep casting this Nidalee in a negative light because we haven't seen Bengi perform on it, but this is the only champion at Worlds 2016 that's 100% pick banned. Every single team respects this champion, and if Bengi can show up on it with SKT's backs against the wall, that's huge.
And the first 4 levels are so important to follow because Olaf is actually relatively predictable in the jungle. And he goes super low on mana, so if anything goes wrong, his clear is disrupted to an extreme degree, which is honestly puts the onus of this game onto Bengi. He can single-handedly destroy Rox's early game and have SKT play their comfortable even into the mid-game style.
And Bengi has been nothing if he has not been clutch at big moments in international stages. SKT and every World Championship they have attended, they have won. They have never lost a best of 5 at Worlds. They are pushed from 1 game towards elimination. Bengi subs back in, having won the first game, and he gets put on a first pick in Italy. This is when Bengi has to step up to save SKT.
And SKT has done this before. I've seen SKT backs against the wall in a best-of-5 and pulling it out in the end anyway. This could be the last game of the night. Or if Bengi has anything to say, we go to a Game 5. Summoners Cup, the chance in the finals on the line here. SK Telecom T1 versus Rocks Tigers. Game 4, here we go!
All right, let's track it here. Very condensed Rocks lineup, looking for potential face check punish. SKT very spread here. If somebody tries to challenge River Vision, a single axe could blow Faker's flash here. Ah, or could not.
Left. They thought he would be waiting in the brush. Faker was waiting in plain sight, but they didn't have the reveal because they wanted to throw the axe from around the corner. Dangerous scout. Get away with it.
But they lose. Ooh. I actually don't like that play because you should fan out, especially when you're playing against an Italy. Giving early information in your jungle. We've seen what Korean teams can do with a single ward, a single sliver of information, especially against a relatively predictable jungle like Olaf.
Absolutely agree. You had champions like Elise and Lee Sin earlier who can jump over walls and hide around. Olaf has no such tricks. He walks in a straight line and...
Oh, and they're unaware of the ward, because look, Smeb's going to go for a fake leash, it seems. Or is he just warding? It looked like he was setting up for the
he
fake
dropped a late trinket.
But he saw the ward being put down. So what they're going to do is actually they're going to start the Olaf on the bottom side of the map and leave that ward right there so the Nidalee can't go for the creative red buff steal on level 2.
And they placed it late enough that even if Bengi does go for it, theoretically Peanut would have time to run down and just trade the buffs in that fashion. So a lot of mind games going on early.
Oh, and Faker for the early
starts at the Raptors. That's clever, knowing they have the red buff. Started knowing that he's going to start blue. Gets one minion, doesn't lose any in lane.
Time Bomb and the 3 autos should give him level 2 at the end of the first wave. It'll also prevent certain jungle patterns from Peanut from hitting level 3 either. He'll have to go to his red buff or his Braum.
Correct, because a lot of the 3-path jungle rushes do include the Raptors, and this means if his third camp is the Raptors, he wouldn't be level 3 off of it because of that single minion being stolen.
Let's see what else can happen here. Bengi, 2 camps in so far. Gromp into blue buff, got a partial leash from Duke, and Peanut should have been communicated that the Raptors were gone, so he will stay and do a more power farming focused route. All 3 camps on the same side of his jungle. They'll walk over top side later, and he, I believe, never gets spotted by a ward doing this, so there's no guarantee that SKT knows exactly what camp he's on.
But they knew he started without a leash, which means they can actually extrapolate that he likely is going to be very low after his first clear.
Yeah, and probably started blue buff to be able to secure that.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all the jungle mind games going on as well, you still have to pay attention to the mechanics of the lane. And bottom lane right there, Bang had a great step forward off of one of the Zyra E's and was able to get a very positive trade.
Look at Peanut though, he passed by mid lane, avoids his own jungle. He doesn't know where Nidalee is. If he gets contested on that Scuttlecraft that he's doing right now, he is gonna go down. So this is a little bold. Even though these guys are separate parts of the map, we have to look at what the information is present to the teams, not to us.
Yeah, and this is my thought on Peanut's decision-making process. He knows that they late warded a spot that was warded by SKT. So that means SKT is expecting that Peanut's going to do a generally normal clear, so he's just making an educated guess that Bengi probably wouldn't invade based off a ward. And now, because he didn't get caught, he knows that Bengi would have done a full clear. These are all the things you have to somehow track in your head while you're laning at the highest level.
In addition to that, he secures the entrances to his jungle first before he goes to clear them. Which means if he gets contested, at least he can spot the Nidalee coming in early. God forbid she's in the jungle already, at least he got a Scuttlecraft for his troubles.
Yeah, Bengi right now was about a full camp ahead. At this point, it's going to be an equal trade overall. Every single jungler took 6 camps in a Scuttlecraft now, so they're a bit equal, but Bengi's the first to make a bit of a move. You can see a slightly deep trinket ward that won't always spot anything, but it is going to be the double bomb and a Kuro, and he's got a flash. That was a crucial flash. He probably would have died if that javelin landed.
Look at them. Ooh, Gorilla.
A lot of damage in a hit, but they know there's no auto attack to the left for Bang. He's going to trade back in with Prey. Exhaust was already burned. Wolf stays in for a nice chunk of damage as well. The flash! Ooh, if an auto attack lands, he was dead.
The spear through the minions.
Bengi is not going to get it, but it's still dangerous. Rocks have very little to do here.
Peanut is coming. Bengi is very afraid of Fog of War here. One more try!
Oh, he had to flash to get away from that one, and that just means a quick jump over from Bengi. That is a loss of summoners for Rocks Tigers.
Wow, and with the snowball effect of some of these early jungle matchups, that could have had such a huge impact on the game. It does get both flashes there out of the Rocks Tigers in the extended engagement.
All right, Bengi is not going for a play on mid lane. He's going to wait for Peanut. He's going to challenge him on the Wolves. He actually hides out of vision here. Watch him walk in right now. He's going to I can test that camp.
Pretty dangerous. He
Look at
knows the
Peanut
flash
pull it out.
on Kuro.
The mind games here, they know they can get spotted here.
They're going for Kuro. Double bomb on a Kuro. Javel's going to land this time, and he's going to get the damage. Yes, he is. First blood in for Faker.
He's out.
Over the wall goes Bangi, and so far,
Wow.
so good for the first pick in Italy. The chase is still on, but hops over the wall, and Peanut gets nothing done.
And we gotta question Kuro in this matchup. You cannot afford to get double bumped twice in a row. It is possible to sidestep them. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's versus Faker, but getting hit twice by those skill shots in a row costs Rocks the early lead.
One constant in this series has been Faker being able to outplay Kuro early on in the laning phase, and picking the Zillion is a very skill-reliant champion both as and against. And Bengi, it looked like he was feigning to go at Peanut, but with the double bomb, makes the spear automatic. Even though he sees Peanut, Bengi knows he has flash, autos after the execute, flashes, jumps, able to dodge the X, just the play they needed to make.
Yeah, and that's Kuro getting in slow range against the Zillion, which means you're under auto attack range right there, trying to telegraph that he's going for the minions right there. Should have probably just sacked the CS. Did not expect Bengi to be around, because Bengi, unlike Peanut, is willing to waste a lot of time, or spend a lot of time rather, going for a setup. Peanut is such a high tempo jungler, he will at most wait 5, 6, 7 seconds for a play, then move on. Bengi was camping there for quite a while, just outside the edges of vision.
Which is extremely peculiar when you consider a Nidalee pick, who is usually all about the efficiency and being 10 and 20 CS up on the opponent.
Yeah, look how he pops his ghost early. He does not want to get in slow range of Faker, because the second Faker slows him, he almost but guarantees the double bomb.
There's so much risks though right now. Faker level 6 has the ulti. Any turret dive is almost no risk if Peanut's not there, and Peanut himself practically out of mana. Probably won't have much to say if a dive does happen. Kuro just barely level 5 right now.
Kuro, seeing the one bomb was on the minions, positions himself against the turret, meaning he's definitely going to get hit by the next bomb. It's a very contentious mid lane right now. Bengi, though, actually getting out-leveled by Peanut, so power farming on Olaf. He is one of the few junglers that can keep up with Nidalee's speed of farm.
Definitely can, but Bengi is taking a team player approach. He went for pressure in the bot lane. Guess what? A little CS lead here and pushing lanes. There's vision, there's control. Skitty is much more happy to give up the CS lead in the jungle to get control of the game. If they can rob this blue buff away from both Olaf and Victor, it's a big hit to Rox's economy.
And he's just going to take the blue for himself, while the Rocks lanes are none the wiser, because the ward smattering doesn't actually catch him. Great timing.
And now he keeps him just locked up. Allow the lanes to thrive right now. Winning mid, winning bot. Even the Gnar is going even in terms of push versus Meb, but if we then look at the CS count,
yeah,
that's a whole different matchup.
Yeah, let's kind of recap the game overall. We've been focusing very heavily on what Faker and Bengi have been doing, and to their credit, it's been really good. You've got a moderate lead in the bot lane, Bang up 9 right now over Prey, but this top lane matchup is plus 22. Smeb is single-handedly keeping the gold remotely close. Arrow lands on the Bang, but is there any meaningful follow-up? Not really. A root on a wolf, and it's a fair bit of damage, but now it's Faker joining in, finding the double bomb on a Prey. The curtain call is there, and Peanut's going to block it, so that's going to be all right for them. It is a TP out of Faker, the ghost out of Peanut showing up.
Very surprised that they actually decided to commit to that teleport, not cancel Faker out there. Just his breathing room for Kuro in the mid lane. Just want to touch back to that Smeb point. Because these junglers have constantly been revealing each other, obviously top was a free playground for Smeb to continuously push in on that Rumble.
Yeah, and when Rumble doesn't have to fear jungle ganks, he will shove in almost all of their top laners. But to talk about the bottom lane again, I'm a little surprised that once again, SKT gets hit by the Ash Arrow exactly on level 6. Like, how many times does that play have to happen? But because they have the double TP, they have the luxury of burning it, so to speak, out of Faker. He loses pressure on the mid lane, but he does harass the bottom lane and prevent a kill.
But this is also part of that teleport. These plays that cannot be evaluated in the vacuum. You got to look at the kind of minute span that happens right after. They lose the red buff, and right now, there's pressure.
And you can see all this damage now onto this bottom turret. Rock Tigers
too
heavily playing around their bottom lane. Smeb's quietly winning in the top lane, but all the pressure is down here in the 2-on-2. And despite the earlier farm deficit, look at all the damage Rox is getting on the turret itself. Peanut, nice juke on the Deadly Flourish. Gonna get rooted up by a wolf, but look at the damage they can do thanks to Zyra on this poor Karma. And if Peanut can hit it, that red buff affects turrets. Look at the damage he's got on that.
Yeah, they're 3/4 of the turret. They might actually finish it unless Juke teleports down, which he doesn't want to do. This lane pressure is immense from Rox Tigers.
And there's a reason Rox is this confident, because in the mid lane, Kuro saw Faker run back into mid with blue buff. Guess how he got it?
Handoff.
Handoff, which means jungle's on the other side of the map here. Rox have shown a continuous priority for the tier 1 tower in the bot lane, and they've succeeded the last 3 games in a row, and it's really was propelling them forward in the mid game, because now again they can unlock this Ashe for more arrows.
And that's going to be flash out of Bang for that one. The
Teleport
coming up already.
Flash.
Here we go. What's going to happen?
By Duke.
Summoner heal just to run away a bit faster, but Equalizer is perfect, and Bang has nowhere to go. But Bangi's around as well. All of SKT now flooding into the bottom lane through the Tri-Brush. This is going to be a bit of a close fight. No root's going to land, but a lot of slows coming out. Now the snipes looking towards Prey, looking towards Gorilla. How much can be landed? One shot comes through. How much more can even happen? And he weaves it through him. That's a kill. Smeb is next up. Summoner heal is in. The chase through for Bangi. And it's going to be another Javelin. Will he chase in? No. Deadly Flourish blocked by the one person who wasn't attacked, and Prey keeps his team from being rooted. But that is another kill for SKT.
Kuro was much slower than Faker, so halfway through the play, he turned around, he went back to the mid lane. That's when Rox decided to retreat. That's why they let Zyra take that last bullet as well, because she was dead in the water anyways. Rox trying to cut their losses.
Yeah, but a much different and more proactive SKT is what we're seeing in this game. They make the mistake of being too obvious about their blue handoff to Faker, and they lose a turret, but very quickly they react to trying to send everyone to the bottom lane after Rox tried to make the teleport play.
But also one of these plays where Rox, they make a play, it fails, and they keep going on. And this is one of these plays where if they don't go for this teleport, they actually win out on the map hugely. But they match TP for TP. They don't follow up on Equalizer. Honestly, they should be able to respect that Faker is here much faster than Kuro. This is, from a strategic point of view, a misplay from Nox. We cannot understate that SKT did the right thing in reacting, but still, iffy play.
You're right, it is another reactive play here by SKT, but they have the ability to roam much better with the double TP and the Zillion. Now they have Smeb slowed with no flash.
Even more. Root into goodbye. Smeb running out of health. That'll be an easy one picked up. Bang! Gonna secure the last hit. 2 of 3 of SKT's kills are on the 80 carry. Looking pretty good. 700 gold in the mid game.
All right, there's your proactive play from SKT, and they need to be able to play at this level, being up 3 kills. With the Zillion, Karma, Jhin, and the Nidalee, like, they really do need to start snowballing this game and be able to get to a point where they can just close on to Prey and Gorilla.
We might see even more of that. Talking about some of the gold leads here, the gap has closed in the top lane. You're seeing 86 to 90 up there, so props to Duke for making all of that happen. And kind of everywhere on the map, it's a very tight game. Turrets one apiece. Rox Tigers still down despite getting first turret hold.
And the crowd here rallying behind both these teams, honestly.
Dueling support between the fans right here, and this series has really delivered on almost every level, and it's not even over yet, especially if SKT could turn this into a 5th game. We know the Rox Tigers need to conquer SKT. They thought they'd have a chance to do it in the summer split. Then SKT went ahead and lost to KT Rolster, so even though Rox won Korea, they didn't actually go through SKT, and now they do have an opportunity to take them down 3-1 if they're able to win this game.
And because it's so even, Rox can't do their favorite gameplay pattern here. They can't just swap in Prey into the mid lane. He is pushing out though. Usually when Prey does this, he pushes out bot lane until he no longer feels safe, goes into Fog of War behind mid and looks for an arrow. But he is obviously playing against a Zillion with both a built-in speed boost as well as a revive if things go a little sour.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about the Tahm Kench being a potential pick against the Ashe. The Zillion is also a good pick against the Ashe, unless Zillion is the one who gets hit by the arrow. Whoop, and Karma can help with the speed, too.
Like, they saw him coming, and they were still so close to getting hit by this arrow because Prey, he just shoots them off so perfectly. He passed 2 wards, and he still got within an inch of hitting right there.
And always a lot to watch for, of course. The Victor in the mid lane can blow you up if you're not paying attention to that. The arrow as well, and hey, even Wolf paying attention, of course. The haste helping for sure. Quick clear in the mid lane. It's SKT with the first play on this one. Rox will be wave clearing second.
I wonder where Prey is going. Maybe he surprises top by moving behind the Rumble, and Rox go for what they've always been doing, switching up, going for another tier 1 turret, but there is still a dragon that's available in the bot side that's drawing them back to the southern part of the map.
Yeah, and notice how open the map actually is right now. Both teams have cleared the bottom turret, and there's a lot of mutual respect for the power of these teams. Notice how few deep wards there are for both teams. They kind of have the river and their own side of the jungle warded, but nothing beyond that. So it's very difficult to actually make intelligent plays forward, and instead they're almost relying on an Ashe Arrow or some type of setup at the Drake.
Yeah, it's always difficult when teams control their own side of the map so well. You have to rely on some level of guesswork, and we know Rox are happy to play around guessing. We know they're happy to take these chancy plays. Hopefully they don't get double slapped for this.
And you can see that they're trying to decide it together right now. They ping the bot wave, they send Victor there half a screen away, and then Kuro turn around and is like, nah, actually, I don't really want to go bot lane right now. Let's just share a wave and farm. So things are no longer just mapped out minutes ahead. Both these teams are stuck in a state of flux, continuously reacting to what they see, but there's so much more that they don't see because there is no deep vision.
We've seen them just trade back and forth, mostly playing around clearing the waves, putting them up to the turret and saying, can we get to the side? Can we get to the mouth of the river? Maybe a little bit here, and it goes away. You see Faker killing wards over this pink ward that's been placed down. That little bit of the river is theirs, and well, they've got this part of the river as well, clearing out this ward that Gorilla just put down.
And this time, SKT's AD carry actually has pick potential himself. It's not an Ash Arrow, but a Curtain Call played well, combined with Deadly Flourish, essentially can do the same thing.
Yeah, not to mention he has the Ghost Blade Power Spike right now before Prey can complete the Essence Reaver. They do have a pretty powerful moment right now, but Peanut starts the Drake while Bengi is in base.
Bengi had finished
SKT
the
should open up
recall.
with Curtain Call here, try and push them off.
But there's no one there to really help them fight, then Nidalee's not there to do battle. The rest could TP in. I think SKT understand they couldn't have really fought for that.
And look where Faker was. He was like meandering around the red buff. Another arrow goes.
He juked back into it. Bang actually turned back down. The chain CC is there, but Bang is able to flash away, but that is Summoner's down. Now the reopen up onto Gorilla, but Peanut's going to tank the shots, and he's like, yeah, go ahead, shoot at me, I don't care, and the last one gets juked out.
I'm telling you, man, this guy, he knows exactly how you're going to juke, and even that you know that he knows, you still get hit.
He got sped up by Karma too, and he couldn't figure out exactly where to go. Also, that play was set up though because of the one deep pink ward that Rox has had in SKT's jungle for a while now. Faker was meandering. Oh, they actually catch Prey.
The Deadly Flourish is there. Ash arrows are nice, but the root's good as well. He's got Bangy to help stick him down. Now, how good is the chase going to be? Undertow's going to miss, and the Equalizer, not how I would have aimed it myself. It should have been
a little bit.
90 degrees counterclockwise. Might have been the counter engage they needed.
Yeah, that wasn't a great equalizer. But it's Smeb. There's one top lane in Rumble that I will forgive. A little bit of an oopsie. It is Smeb. But yeah, Rox right now, they're being matched by SKT. Not only are they being matched, SKT is 1,000 gold ahead.
Ooh, now Peanut's in a bit of danger. No flash, or no ghost, I should say, for him. It was already down. He's able to run away. Red Smite's just to lower the damage output that Duke would have had on him.
A little shake up here too. Bengi looking to join Faker on the bot lane, maybe surprising Prey. Prey kept this flash though, very important. But the zone from bombs might be enough to get some chip damage, or at least a rotation mid maybe. SKT changing up the laning patterns here themselves.
Yeah, Faker's also been roaming a lot this game, so Kuro's ahead of him in CS despite having the early death in the mid lane, which will be a boon for Rox in the late game if Kuro's able to hit those big item power spikes. And for now, it's still a very even game, but with that roam, SKT didn't get chip damage. They did get some very powerful wards within the jungle of Rox.
Yeah, but they're waiting for picks again here. It's honestly that first TP that Faker did that just didn't quite hit the mark. Gave Kuro enough breathing room. Aggressively contesting blue buffs though. Very aware of the timers. Faker eventually gets it.
Yeah, really stealing a lot away, and to keep in mind, this is still a 1,500 gold lead for SK Telecom T1. Their persistent team fight damage later in the game isn't incredibly high, whereas Rox Tigers have a whole bunch of damage threats. Zillion tapers off damage-wise pretty quickly, but so far it is still SKT controlling, and every team that has held an early game lead has been able to close it out so far this series. We know these top-level teams are so good at playing with the lead and never letting someone back in.
But SKT have put Rox in, honestly, a good chokehold here, because nobody can really deal with Faker in the side lane. Faker is much more mobile if he wants to leave. In addition to that, he also has teleport. So if they can actually keep Kuro locked down in the bot lane, receiving the push from Faker, and this doesn't happen, then SKT is good. SKT want to keep these lane matchup, but they have to keep dodging the arrows, and that's the hardest part. If they do that, though, Faker can continuously pressure out the bot lane.
And it gives them more and more time to try and set up plays. Because if Victor's not in the team fight is very weak for the Rox Tigers, and there's a lot of targets that can be picked off at this stage in the game. Most namely, you talk about the Zyra and the Ashe.
Also, as the Victor has to trail into team fight late, he's going to run into potential pick attempts here by a sped up Faker. Max range from the mid lane. Bang with the Curtain Call. He can influence both top and bot lane. That's why you really want to have that Jhin in the mid lane. And there's still that ward. Look, Bang spotted again.
For all the incredible plays that these guys have pulled off and all the praise we've given them, you have to check that brush for the pink ward. It's going back the earliest things when you're in a jungle.
You heard you, Jet? Nope, he's going for red buff.
He hasn't been smiting the Raptors, so it's also not giving him the notification when he's close to it. And that is just giving so much knowledge to the Rox Tigers.
We know exactly where Nidalee is, which means Peanut can hard commit for this gank. No risk of counter ganks here.
He's tried so many times to come up to this lane, actually. It's the third time I've seen him on the screen up there in the last 3 minutes or so trying to make it happen. Bengi just takes away half his camps, and Duke kills a ward away and says, yeah, nice try, buddy. Looking at one more chance in this one. Axe going to land, and Duke seems impervious to this pressure.
It's honestly also because it's both in choice to go for the lane, but also because there is no other option. It's so hard to gank mid lane with so much vision around here. You're not really going to gank a Faker in a long lane on the Zilean, so your only option is to either farm, which he does, and then linger around top lane, maybe at least preventing a gank from Bank.
Yeah, and we may be in that situation from Rox Tigers where unless they land a beautiful Ash Arrow to engage, we just don't see them making any proactive plays because they don't have the team composition to do it, especially against all of the mobility that SKT has early on in this game.
Like we're maybe headed towards catastrophic team fight the game as it's slowed down a little bit here. Only one turret per team 20 minutes in. Rox Tigers have been held killless so far 20 minutes in. That's nearly a record in itself. They normally get so much more done here at this point.
The next Mountain Drake spawns in a mid though, and with that being a very valued dragon for both these teams, that may be a catalyst that this game so desperately requires.
I agree with you there, and even though SKT did have some good warding in the blue buff area of the Rox Tigers, that's been cleared out. And there's still that pesky little pink ward that Peanut placed many minutes ago.
It's actually a great TP ward. If you make them retreat from Dragon into their own jungle somehow, that can be very surprising.
Yeah, and I wonder where SKT's going to divert their pressure. Rox have been the kings of the dragon so far in this series by getting it again and again. And about the 5th gank the Peanut sent up the top lane. Maybe he reaches Duke this time. Faker's on the way.
This looks quite a bit better. The slows are still there, but suddenly the fact that Faker could revive means nothing to be had. Oh, what a great zone used by Smeb. Getting away from it all, and the bombs aren't going to land either. But the turret's so low, and Bangy wants to dive. He's got one, and SKT are breaking this one apart now. Faker knocked around in front of the turret, does not get up to burn the ult. He's getting low and just never casts it.
He doesn't respect the Zyra damage, misses his self-ultimate.
And now it could be dangerous. Wolf's gonna die in a couple more shots. Oh, it's gonna be enough that Bangy shuts him out anyway. And that is 2 for 1, favor of SKT. Rox finally get a kill 20 minutes in, later than they would have liked.
And what a crazy engagement. The Zonia is perfectly timed by Smeb, but Bangy coming in to save the fight. His Nidalee has been pretty good considering he's never played it competitively. So some big moments coming in from SKT here. And they get a little bit smaller of a lead in this game.
Honestly, super cool game mechanics there too. After the Zonias, so what you have to know is that after Zonias, if you place 2 bombs, it will instant trigger on Smeb. So the fact that Peanut actually picks up the bomb after the Zonias in a little bit is quite peculiar because it allows Smeb to then flash out. That's what happens here. Smeb reads the flash beautifully. Then the first bomb comes out, it goes to the Peanut, and that means no double stun on the Smeb. It's like the little things, but then the same bomb ends up killing him anyways.
And that's the cute finish right there. But then Faker right here, a bunch of minions. He bombs the minions, doesn't ult himself, didn't want to be reviving the turret, but you definitely don't want to die, so a big misplay by him right there. And they're fighting over that Mountain Drake right now.
And it's SKT who seem to be the ones with control. Ward of the pit, everything they could possibly need, it feels like. And SKT will answer Mountain Drake for Mountain Drake. 2,500 gold separating both the squads, and that's secure by Bangy.
It's so important that you get a lead with Zilean too. He's one of those champions that plays so well once you're slightly ahead because you can snowball and accelerate, but come too far behind, Zilean kind of becomes useless. And we see SKT playing to the strengths, push up mid lane, just roam to a different lane, surprise people with that speed up in River. If they don't have perfect vision control, it's quite unpredictable where exactly the Zilean pick is.
It's always going to be scary. Asher not going to land this time either. SKT doing a generally better job of juking. Rox only found 1 kill so far this game. And that's mid lane turret going down. SKT all 3 outers now.
Also the difference in the Karma versus the Zyra. Zyra gets hit by every arrow. Karma can master shield the entire team. Everybody gets a speed boost. Everybody gets to dodge the arrow.
Not to mention the 5 ranged champions that SKT have in this game. They're really keeping their distance from the Rox Tigers, and that's going to make it really difficult for Peanut to be able to make it into these fights unless Prey can land that perfect Ash Arrow, which as SKT is getting a little bit more familiar with it and also have the higher mobility team with the speed boost from the Zilean and the Karma, are dodging them at a much higher rate. They still haven't brought in Cleanse or QSSs or Mikhails, but they are juking the arrows.
And in my mind, though, as you're talking about all of this, if I'm SKT, I'm still afraid of a 5-on-5. I just feel like there's so much damage on Rox Tigers that a proper team fight could be so scary, but SKT are manipulating around that so well.
Exactly, and that's part of having the 5 range champions as well as all of the mobility control with the hastes they can get from the Zilean and the Karma. Because I agree, they don't want to just dive into the Rock Tigers, but they do want to poke them and have long, extended fights.
And honestly, the way to do that is 1-3-1 and then go for like little collapses on the side. Here again, Prey hits a trap, immediate reaction.
Arrows him.
That's obviously very easy to do. There's Bengi.
Bengi back in on the Prey. A lot of health going down on him. Has to flash away from that one. Gets away from the deadly flourish. But that is a flash down of the low mobility Rocks Tigers AD carry.
No mobility right now. No flash, no heal.
Just his legs. Got to do it the old-fashioned way.
Boots of Swiftness, got the speed.
Great.
Both ADs go that way.
Hurricane move speed 5%, I think. But yeah, comparatively, when there's a zillion buffed, like Gnar hopping over you, flashing over minions, like, yeah, Prey's probably dead next team fight.
Yeah, better not skip a leg day if you're Prey right now. Or stall out. Look for the next arrow. Honestly, that's it for Rocks. That's the cadence of their aggression. It is every single arrow.
I agree with you there. He had to use it defensively, essentially, against the Jhin right there, because we're not too far removed from the Jhin and Ashe meta where you would just pick both of these AD carries because they have the utility and they can just kind of team fight each other from 3,000 range. The 1-3-1 is being set up by SKT, as you mentioned there, Crepo. Gnar pushing pretty heavily on the bottom side. Mercury treads enough defense right now to deal with Smeb because he has so much damage threat with the Frozen Mallet and the Black Cleaver. And then Faker with Teleport very safely continuing the shove on the top side.
Yeah, Smeb opting into a little bit defensive build as well here, so he doesn't have the raw damage to just kind of all in Dukes. Dukes should be fine right now in that matchup. SKT keeping the map big is really good for them because they can really leverage the 2 teleports that they bring to the table. Nobody from Rocks wants to play in the top lane right now. Basically, looking for the shorter straw. If it is the Ashe or the Victor pick that has to go there, the second they send somebody top, that's when SKT can start positioning around the map, you know, sliding a few wards into the enemy jungle, and then leveraging the fact that they have a double teleport.
But there's also the ever-present danger when SKT is in a 1-3-1 with no QSSs, no cleanses, and no Mikhails, because if Rocks lands the arrow in the mid lane on the 3, they can wipe them and take a bunch of interior turrets.
Quick root into Peanut, landing some of the skill shots as well, but the pounce isn't going to land. And left he goes. One last shot lands. He's a bit low.
That third shot would have landed, Peanut would be dead.
True. One more would have gotten him. He would have had to do something else. But
Gorilla wants a flank here, but he gets spotted by Bengi. Good spot
arrow
by Bengi
again anyway. A quick root on Gorilla. That's goodbye. Look for the harass, got hit in return, and now the double bomb forcing the flash of Kuro, the stun and a Faker, not gonna matter, because he already had the ulti off the side. And Bengi again, now the double kill, the flash heal for Bang to turn it around, but look at the trade damage, Prey running for dear life, and he will in fact get away with it. 2 for 1 still, advantage SKT.
SKT believes so much in their god and savior Bengi that their AD carry is willing to flash in just to heal him. Straight into an equalizer.
Yep. They had gotten so many positive things because Bengi was going off right there, but sometimes you need to know when to let your Nidalee die, and Bang uses both of his defensive summoner spells to go in, falls back. Faker had already ulted himself into the turret, and when they did that, they lose their pressure on the mid lane, so they don't actually get to convert on the nice play they made to kill Gorilla.
First of all, great presence of mind for SKT to scout out that brush, because if Wolf was allowed to flash ER in, would have been a win. Great from Kuro as well, dodging the second bomb at least, but then Bengi aggressively moves in, tries to kill Pang here.
The turret was on him when he flashed forward as well, because Faker had been reviving from the Zilean ultimate. A dangerous move there, and the gold lead actually doesn't extend for SKT.
Yeah, thanks to Smeb turning it around with the equalizer that would have otherwise, I think, had Prey dead immediately and was a quarter second away from actually getting the kill onto Bengi anyway. Got so low out of the equalizer. Very tight timings here. 3,500 gold still puts SKT ahead. They've actually held this lead at, I want to say, very similar numbers. It's grown slightly over time, but Rocks are playing from behind pretty tight here. Faker gonna find Peanut, or vice versa, and Faker decides to go away.
And right now for SKT, they're not looking for tangible gold leads, honestly. They're looking for good vision control in the enemy red jungle. That is their main objective, if they can somehow acquire it through the 1v1. But that could unlock the potential Baron attempt. Another arrow goes out.
Land, dodged by Bengi. Yeah. One thing I'm surprised by is that Prey is going for a second Zeal item instead of going for the Infinity Edge. It is a huge damage bump to finish that item, and instead he's going for the more attack speed focused one. Really gonna get attacked once. Bengi a bit low as well, and really just sits there, grins and bears it, and it's Bengi who gets shut down, and no one was in range to help him out with that one.
Faker was off in the top lane, and Bengi was trying to go hero mode. Another kind of big mistake there after playing so clutch for so much of this game. Twice overextends, this time he falls.
Setup looked so good for SKT. They had 1-3-1 going. Arrow was on cooldown. All they had to do was just keep pushing the side lanes. Their point of advance was basically having somebody match Faker and Faker peel off. Instead, they pulled the trigger too early.
Such a tense moment still in this series. SKT one game from elimination. Bengi had played such a solid early and mid game, but Rocks have been able to turn some of SKT's aggression against them right now and keep this gold very close. The longer SKT does this 1-3-1, the longer they can't stall before getting the progress. Rallies is completed on Kuro if he can catch Faker.
And Faker is definitely caught. He's going to land the flash, and he gets away from the undertow. Moves fast enough to get away with it. Arrow's going to hit Wolf, and it just does not matter.
But earlier, we could also see, just in the defense of that pick on Gorilla Zyra right there, the zone control that's built into this Rocks comp. You have the Victor Dome on the left side, you have the Zyra ulti on the other side, you have a bunch of snares, plants coming out, the threat of damage if you move in as well. If SKT ever bite off too much that they can't shoot, they get blown up immediately.
Whoa! Bengi popped Gorilla somewhere on the side of the map, lands a Javelin, lands the rest of the skills, and
Solo kill.
nothing for the Zyra to do. And the funny thing is, actually, Gorilla has a lion's share of the kills of Rocks Tiger.
If Gorilla dies right there, it's very likely they was looking for a ward over the wall and he just ate a spear.
Picking these spots very well. This gives over second Mountain Drake for SKT this game. That's every Mountain Drake that can possibly spawn in this game.
3 in a row. We've had Triple Ocean, Triple Infernal, now Triple Mountain. This one, though, spread apart a little bit. SKT gets 2, and now look at this, the pressure onto this turret of Smeb. It's another game where, wow, actually, he's going to Zonius to dodge through the skill shots, and now has to fear for his life. Look at the damage uplift from Bengi. A house will kill him off.
He's alive.
He's dodging away, finally. It's a deadly flourish, just that as Bang kills him off.
Smeb did not expect that much damage to come out of Bengi because he technically could have flashed most, if not all of that damage if he just flashed a pounce. Bengi surprising there with the Nidalee.
Whoa, Faker, though. He's going to ult, but he's going to get hit up here. So, Gravity Field, is it available? Yes, it is. This could be difficult because Faker, he doesn't have flash, but yeah, still able to walk away from that. A trade of blows, a trade of ultimates.
And back in the day, that was much better for the Victor if the ultimate's still silenced, because you actually forced the Zillion to use his ultimate much earlier. With just a little interrupt, though, Faker can always get out.
Yeah.
Unless the Gravity Field, just like you said, spawns in time.
Yeah, and notice the picks that SKT's been able to get in the side lane as well as in the mid lane with Bengi landing spears. The 1-3-1 finally kind of was able to crack open Rocks Tigers. They caught them in a warding pattern, then they got a very good dive off, and now they're going to try, since they were able to take control of the bottom side, they're trying to transition that vision control now to the top side, where they can maybe get Baron control with their double Mountain Drake and kill the Baron very quickly.
Yeah, this is where it gets tricky, because they have to overstand deep into the enemy territory. They have to build on those pink wards they have on the right side, have Duke leverage the pressure. The second he reveals 2 members bot, they go for Baron. The second he can maybe peel off and get a good teleport, they go for Baron. But this right here, what Bengi is doing, that's what they want. They want vision in the enemy red side, choke out the vision around Nashor, and then force Rocks Tigers to face check or waste all their blue trinkets and the hog shots. There's one. One blue trinket is down, there's one more remaining.
Rocks get some of their vision back. They're going to kill off this pink ward that SKT placed a little while ago, though Gorilla will have to fear for his life because Bengi's scary on this Nidalee. 4, 1, and 3. So far the best performing member of SK Telecom.
Second blue trinket down, there's one ward in the pit, and at this point, it's getting dark.
The thing is,
Hawk
they
shot
also
30.
have Ashe. So Hawkshot in 30, the Trinket on Prey will also be up a little bit before then. Not to mention the Ashe Arrow could potentially scout, so I don't think they're in danger yet. SKT would most likely try and get some poke damage on someone before they really start this one.
And this is the vision from the Rocks Tigers. They don't see anything in the Baron area. Luckily for them, they see a couple of members visible. Yeah. Faker just shows up. That's the power of 1v1. It's such a hard time spotting for Faker.
Land the slow, but he's going to flash for the Q into the ulti, and he gets away from the stuns. Yes, he does. So Faker should not have an exit here. That's okay. The revive. Now it's time for the gravity field. Now how much can be done? Because keep in mind, SKT are pushing elsewhere. So Faker loses his life, but there's still more happening. Mid lane is under fire. Prey just runs to the side and says, "You can't see me anymore." Still gets the shot. Ooh. Mid tier 2 though did die for the kill on Faker.
But they traded for not only the kill, they also get some vision control here. That's more important. They had complete fog of art. If Faker and the people in the mid lane disappeared, Rocks would have to face check. So I think they're happy sacrificing a single turret for a kill and honestly balancing out the vision again.
Yeah, it buys them time, but it also goes to show how difficult of a situation they are in. Kuro burned both of the summoner spells there against Faker, who burned none. And while they do trade some time and a mid lane turret, they don't really gain anything outside of temporary control and just a hope that when SKT set up the next play that Rox can get more picks.
And they have to do that with the arrow. Again, that's what Prey is looking for. The next one has to hit. We've said it before, but it's getting close to the point where Rox, if they don't hit one of the next 1 or 2 arrows, they will just simply lose the Baron.
Yeah, and that Baron would be super critical, especially with Duke's split pushing power right now. The overall pace of this game is much more in favor of SKT as another arrow flies wide, because Rox was the highest combined kills per minute team in this game, so the fastest pace from a kills perspective of the entire tournament, whereas SKT does play much slower. And even in this series, the accelerated kill games have gone to Rox when there's very rapid decisions. Yeah. But when it's responsive and slow like this, SKT have had the upper hand. So Rox doesn't have the tools here to accelerate the game unless the Ash arrows are connecting.
Yeah, this game, in fact, like, to talk about some statistics, this was their slowest first kill of the tournament by 50%. It was 13 minutes, this was 21. And they're just not getting a lot done. The arrows are being dodged this time around, and Rox just don't have the ways in.
We gotta check Wolf here. He's coming in with 4 wards. Rox Tigers being shoved out of the mid lane and their own jungle here. SKT aggressively moving up for vision.
Ooh, the 2 shots landed. Ooh, Bangi not quite in range. And that's going to be him getting away from the deadly flourish. Again, 1 more shot lands, and that would have been a kill on the Prey, or at least a forced summoner spell.
We can't forget there's 2 Mountain Drakes inside of SKT, and Peanut is playing a jungle with no flash, so he has to physically walk around the corner. You don't need as much Fog of War as you would normally do. Even just right there, if they can get that ward and the red buff under control, they could simply rush the Baron, especially since Peanut is being poked out.
Yeah, and they still have the double TP if they wanted to try and set up a split push, but because they got Prey so low, they needed to kind of threaten the Baron right now, and they could actually be doing it with Bangi having to harass. Rox doesn't know this, so they have to look a little bit forward.
Peanut's getting a bit low, 2,000 health, and the stuns could be there, but they're not going to dive in just yet. Kuro was around to participate. Bang got dropped to half, and SKT will partially reset.
Yeah, they're resetting because we see pings on the bottom wave from SKT. Blue pings went out on that massive minion wave in the bot lane, indicating that they want to fix that first. The first step to any objective contestant is just getting the push on your side lanes.
Creating the option to say, hey, if you ignore this, we'll just kill a turret instead. Yeah. We'll just knock down your base and forget the Baron baits. The minions are here for you. And that Duke preempts it in time. There's no pressure to be had from Rox Tigers. Not getting a lot done with this. It'll be pushed back in. Bangi getting cut out though. Gonna flash. Actually, a flash as well from Faker to pop his own ulti. And now can they get away from the ults? It's Prey trying to take it up, but he's gonna get into a bad way. Hey, thankfully for Kuro, he does slink out with enough health. Faker and Bang both burning summoner spells in that one.
And a little bit sloppy there with double flashes having to be burned by SKT and not getting the kill onto the Rox Tigers. SKT are in a position where they can force a 5th game, but if they falter once, they would be out of worlds right here. So they have to be so cautious with the way they make these plays. Rox is going to try and force them into a decision here. Split push up top from Duke. They are starting it. They know Faker has no flash. They know Bang's ultimate is down. This is huge.
This is going to be tight timing. Duke is guaranteed to be mini Nar. He's got no bar at all, so no big stuns. Gorilla does not quite get caught, but he's low, and the shot comes through. 1,200 damage out of Bang. That's the one for nothing. And look at Kuro, just zoned out by Faker, not getting anything done.
Duke didn't even come in with teleport, so he canceled. Rox have to run away, but Duke's also getting the inhibitor.
And Bang's on a killing spree.
Rox forced that play without Kuro being. Kuro came from base. He doesn't have teleport. Even if Bangi dies here, Duke is just whacking away at the base.
And he's going to kill off the inhibitor, we think, so far. It's 2 for 1 overall in kills. Smeb trying to re-engage. How much damage do they have? Because Bang is on a rampage, and there's the revive. Nothing to be picked up. It's now Smeb who has to carry this fight, but he doesn't have the damage. Forced to flash away. Bang pushes him out. Faker does too.
And there's still a Gnar in the base of the Rox Tigers.
And that should be enough. The curtain call is there.
Just
this should be the land. Easy peasy. Bang is unstoppable. And Duke is still pushing. Gorilla and Peanut are the ones alive trying to keep the base up. 15 seconds and Kuro. And the teleport is in for Faker. It's SKT trying to close it out right now. Trying to bring us to game 5. Gorilla's down. Kuro's up in 4. But they need minions. They need to back off for a few more seconds, and SKT look like they will back off all the way and try again a bit later.
And for the first time this entire series, I feel Rox looked lost. They went for a panic Baron play. Their jungle was clearing out the ward. The AD carry just hit it. They didn't commit at the same frame. It was such a poor attempt too because their mid laner wasn't even there.
Yeah, and it is a mistake but it was almost bound to happen eventually with the way SKT was playing this game, starving them of vision back and forth and back again. And then Rox gets the one window. Gorilla stays too long, gets cut off by Bank. Faker completely cutting off Curl on the side here. And the canceled TP by Duke, as well as the way SKT plays around this, is exquisite. They finish off Curl and then continue to push forward. If I do nitpick right here, Faker should have been with the team to stop these recalls, and Bengi could have stayed alive, and maybe they actually win the game off the Gnar right here. But they kill Bengi, Faker's late to this arrival, and the rest of the fight plays out.
I definitely agree. Faker should stay with his team if the imperative is just to cancel the backs right there. Going for a single hit is definitely the right play. But this is all the result of, honestly, hard work and good vision in the enemy jungle by SKT, because that's exactly how they spotted Kuro moving in. He was coming from the base because he got chunked out earlier. Again, just looking to chunk here. Maybe kill.
Flash.
Red buff on a play, and goodbye. Bengi lands the javelin. Red buff over the jungler after all.
They don't have Baron, but they might not need it right now. There's already one down turret. Frey is dead in this situation, and they even get a lot of poke on a Peanut.
And Peanut might be next in this one. Down to 2k HP. Bengi not going to dive the turret just yet on this one, but 5v4.
Yeah, Rox, only 4 members remain here. They have wave cut from the Victor, but SKT is just going to simply turn around and do the same thing again. Choke the vision out, get the Baron. If Rox face check, they're dead. If they don't, well, they lose an Asher. I don't even think Peanut can make it out in time.
Exactly, and even if Peanut is there in time, can he run through Bang right now, who's a 7-kill Jhin, and just trucking them with damage, not to mention the damage from Bangi. So Duke zoning out, no way Rox can steal this.
And it's not going to happen. An easy peasy pickup. Nicely done, SK Telecom T1. 10,000 gold in the lead, looking to take this game and bring us to the 5th game of the series.
And wouldn't that just be the epic ending to this series we've been waiting for? These games have been so closely played and so well played by both teams. It would almost be tragic if there were a big mistake by SKT here in a game that they essentially deserved to win would be lost to Rox Tigers. Elder Drake, Baron, they want to take this to a deciding Game 5.
And both teams also stayed true to their style that was predicted of them. Yes, SKT is reactive in a sense, but it's because they just read the map so well. We saw Faker move around now with the Zillion as well. They just played it slow, methodical, low combined kills and deaths in the early game here. Whereas Rox, the games that they excelled in, they were bloody, they were fast-paced, there were a few mistakes, but it was Peanut going off.
We might see the SKT style workout here. 2 apiece looks to be the scoreline we're looking at. 10 kills up, 13,000 gold, and nothing else to take but the Rox Tigers base. 2 minutes, 20 seconds on the Baron buff. Minute and a half remains on Elder Dragon.
You really can't help but praise Koma and Bengi for what they pulled off here. They sub Bengi back into the series. They don't ban Nidalee.
There's a teleport.
They have a strong, successful play.
Gonna fake, please, all right. It's the Chaos Crucible burned by Wolf. Here comes the re-engage. Peanut is low.
Smells behind. They don't know he's there.
Way too much damage. Looking for Faker, getting shot up and blown up. Now it's Smeb on the backside, but he can't find much to do. It's still Rox Tigers waiting to find what their opening could be. It's a 2-for-0. Make that 3-for-0 as the bombs blow up even more. And this could be the game-winning play right now. Kuro's got nothing left to do. Sure, he can pop the Guardian Angel, but what does it even matter? It's a 4-for-0. It's the ace. It's the game. And it's SK Telecom T1 bringing us to Game 5.
What a series we have here. I can't wait for the 5th game. SKT fight their way back in elimination game. Bengi subs back and he saves SKT. Now we're going to Game 5.
Bring on the Silver Scrapes. Summoner's Rift himself, SKT Bengi, is undefeated in this series. And we now have the decider, the last game to play to determine which of these incredible teams deserves to represent in the final.
But they're smiling. The Rox Tigers are still smiling, and it's so important to keep up morale. They said it in their interviews as well. They never viewed SKT as an unbeatable opponent. They are not their kryptonite. They're simply another guy in the way of them reaching the Summoners Cup, and that's exactly what they want to do in Game 5.
Yep, and if they are to win the Summoners Cup, they must win the next game. And this has been such an incredible series. That game in particular was SKT's best played game of the series. They are 2-0 with Bengi. They lost both games to the surprise support MF pick, which they have finally decided to ban away. So does Rox have something else up their sleeves, or can they beat SKT at this new game they've adopted with Bengi?
But they're probably swapping sides again here. Rox very likely going to be on the blue side next time, which means that Nidalee ban is now forced on SKT, which means they have to start pivoting.
Aurelion Sol, Jace, Misfortune. Aurelion Sol, Jace have never left the ban phase so far.
Yeah.
Is one of them going to? Does Kuro or Smeb get this champion that SKT have been too afraid of to let them play?
And I don't think we want to see Peanut on Italy.
I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see the red side.
More afraid of that.
This is awesome. This is the series that everyone was hoping to happen, and we're getting it.
Going to Game 5. It's going to be beautiful, but of course the teams need to prepare. So as we wait for them, let's break it down at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Freak. We asked for it, 5 games. These teams are delivering, and we heard Jat just say it. Best game of the series from SKT so far, and it comes on Bengi's Nidalee. We were saying we don't even expect them to be able to play it, and then boom, first pick. I mean, it's like a secret pocket pick for a year.
There's expectations, not a year, Dash. He has played 307 career games, 0 on Nidalee. A champion's been a cornerstone of the meta for 2 years. First ever Nunu game, and past marks and then some. He did actually a really good job here, Bengi.
Oh, he did a fantastic job, and that was so surprising because we were honestly afraid. But I guess you have to look at it and say, would they swap in Bengi on blue side if he couldn't play Nidalee at all? Clearly not, because he could play it. He first picked it. Rox didn't expect it. We didn't expect it either. And I think it's really good to see how him and Faker together again just work so well, because Faker is able to win the lane due to the jungle pressure being applied as well, so Faker can play aggressive, lands a few bombs, and sets up Bengi for success.
Exactly. I love this long con so much because it lets SKT play off their biggest strength. Faker has been just blasting Kuro over and over in the mid lane, and now that they have Bengi on Nidalee, he gets to invade the jungle and completely take over the game. It was just beautiful. This is definitely my favorite series I've seen in a long time due to all the surprises.
And here's the thing, going into this game as well, Kobe, we were talking about SKT and, you know, the skill shots that they were eating in the entire game. And you were saying, all right, your contingency plan can't just be let me dodge it.
To be fair, they drafted everything to help them dodge. They have Zillion speed, Karma speed. They drafted an AD carry that builds Swifty Boots and Ghostblade normally, so Bang was able to sidestep all this stuff, but still the margin for error was very, very thin there, and they had to dodge over and over for 30 minutes.
And really important to highlight the Jhin, because this was the first time we really got to see this series show up. And what a monster performance this time around from Bang. Like, both these AD carries are kind of just trading. Now it's your turn, now it's my turn. But Jhin was so important here because it didn't lose lane to Ashe. It was actually able to match the laning phase. And then outside the laning phase, Ashe does have the arrow to create picks. Well, Jhin has his own ulti and also has the snare to create picks. So they can kind of trade them back and forth. And as soon as Bang dodged around some of these ultis from Prey, he was actually able to set up picks for his team. And that was super key as well with this high speed, kind of weird composition that was a little bit clunky from SKT, but with the early advantage to Nidalee, they just took over the entire map, and Faker as well again on the Zillion. Yes, he missed one ulti on himself. Apart from that, he played well.
And I have to assume that the Olaf pick is in part just to keep up with the farming game that Nidalee would have. Of course, we did see Nidalee start to outpace Peanut in that area, but why not go for the Lee Sin that's been working for your team so well? Why not go for something with a little bit more of that playmaking potential that they've needed in other games?
It's a really fair question, honestly. We saw the Lee Sin used to such great degree here. We also saw the Olaf, the 11-0-5, 100%.
Right, it's not like he hasn't performed on it before.
And it's the sort of champion that can kind of skirmish and duel with Nidalee. It's the sort of champion that can also get in there and be a battle ward. But to me, the big change is that Faker won lane, which he's been doing the whole game, but with teleport. He didn't even have a second mobility summon, he didn't have ignite, he didn't have exhaust, so that whenever they went for the percentage plays, which for Rox Tigers, remember, have been bottom lane, teleport Zillion ult is available. The same sort of snowball, the whole shooting gallery on supports with the Ashe, couldn't happen this game because between the jungler coming bottom, the support mid laner coming bottom, they couldn't repeat that. The laning phase ended. They didn't have massive snowball on their bot lane, and Rox didn't have another idea on how to take this one.
I love that point, the adjustment from SKT to respond to the focus around the bot lane from Rox Tigers. I want to push us to the game-ending replay here, 37 minutes into the game, essentially 5-for-1 for SKT around Baron.
And this is actually a super risky play started by the Rox Tigers, going for Baron in the first place when they didn't even have all the members here. Kuro, you can see on top of your screen, just ended the fight now and already got chunked. That beautiful play from Bang, obviously going with the crit to get the kill. Kuro also ends up going down. This was kind of Rox being forced almost to make a play. They felt like if we don't try and rush down this Baron, we're not going to win the game, and it failed for them.
Exactly. I think here they're not even trying to kill the Baron. I think they just wanted to put enough threat on SKT to stop this split push, because that Gnar is destroying the base right now, and it's all because of Bang's big play there, you know, going in and getting that kill. They were gonna pull off this Baron, but taking out that member, there's no defense they could send back over to defend the inhibitor, and SKT get inside the base. That's the door wide open.
I mean, the delicate dances were what won ROX Tigers 2 games in a row where they needed to take it in the mid game. But with Kura so out of position in that fight, completely zoned, completely a non-factor, they just couldn't dance the same way. They DPS down the Baron, they didn't get the engage they wanted, and then they were just caught in no man's land.
Let's remember, though, teams will swap again. Now, there's no way ROX Tigers is not taking blue side for next game. And that means if you're SKT, you're looking again at the Jace and Aurelion Solos, the 2 bans you've gone for every single time. There's the MF you want to get rid of, and then there's the Nidalee pick. And that is the big, big issue. We might see SKT try and trade some of these power picks back and forth, being like,
Open out here, and ROX, they're just going to stick to the game plan, get rid of the Rise, get rid of the Syndra, and then maybe react with a 3rd ban.
And you can see the first ban is already Misfortune, so something has got to give already. Something that they've not wanted to give up the entire series will be allowed.
Yep. Guaranteed here with the Nidalee being banned.
So it's Aurelion Sol or Jace that's going to make its way to the first pick. Olaf is out, forcing Bengi to play Lee Sin if he wants to steal it away. If not, ROX are going to get their favorite jungler and a strong power pick early.
There's also a chance they ban something completely different, so that they can get something on the return picks right here, because I actually feel like they ban Aurelion Sol, just because if they do leave both of them up, they pick the Jace, and Faker doesn't want to play Aurelion Sol.
Oh, no Jace.
No rush at all, actually, and preferring, even with Zyra on the table, the Karma instead. The Misfortune, of course, is not available as the counter pick.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that happen in long series like this, where you have a permaban. As soon as you drop it from the permaban, the expectation is that a team immediately pounces on it, but sometimes they don't even care. Sometimes they actually have something they want to play.
Turns out you were banning it for no reason.
Yeah.
Also curious is the first pick, Ashe, is also nowhere to be seen, which is interesting as well, where we had seen that several times, and it felt like it was the major reason that ROX Tigers were winning was praise Ashe, and then the previous game it wasn't quite as good, and now it's just not even prioritized.
Yeah, and now with the Misfortune ban, do they just go Ashe Zyra right off the bat? There's so many different variables that they could pick for this game.
But this would be interesting, the double steal away here.
With Elise up, too, is the interesting thing for me, because I am super fearful of Peanut's Elise, although he has been prioritizing Elise in lately.
The mind games definitely going on here. The Ashe pick suddenly contested in the series, completely unprecedented here during Worlds. Everybody's like, yes, Prey is an Ashe player and he can always come back, but nobody expected it to make its way. At least not this high in priority.
Ooh, and it's the Flex Karma again.
And the Jace,
and the Jace comes through. Here we go. So
bring it.
Very few tanks available, but you've got support in the mid lane. And is it going to be Prey's incredible Jhin to round it out?
So they get counterpick jungle. They get, I think this is what prompts them, honestly. They get Peanut on a counterpick jungle from whatever's remaining to give him his favorite champion that he wants to play. They have an aggro top laner right there with the Jace. Combine any jungle with that and you have so much damage. If you have the synergy to pull it off, you can definitely nail some ganks. So you got free push in mid lane with the Karma. This is Peanut's playground.
And with the range they have here, I would be pretty shocked if he doesn't pick Elise later in the draft. But you're looking at SKT right now, and it does feel like ROX just pulled off a really smart move in the draft phase, whereas SKT thought they'd be able to steal the jungler, when in fact they were just moving the Karma to the mid lane. And how does Faker want to play against the Karma in the mid lane? Because they did double ban him as far as the Rise and the Syndra are concerned. Cassiopeia is a strong pick. His Zillion was very effective, but it's super hard to land bombs on a Karma who can just speed away.
He's going to switch the last second back to the Orianna. Utility in the mid lane. Very few tanks to be had here. Bengi on the Lee Sin, of course. They already know the Jace is top, and there are the champions we expected. The Jhin, as well as the Elise. ROX on a lot of comfort here in Game 5.
But this is, just like Game 1, Peanut's first gank has to stick. We saw what happens if it misses. He falls super far behind. But look at the potential. Karma mid lane, snare onto Orianna. That's instant cocoon. It's going to hit.
Oh, the pick potential from the ROX Tigers is absurd.
Insane.
The fact that Jhin could open up, Karma can just speed to a root. Jace can speed everyone up as well, so if they do land one cocoon somewhere, even in the mid or late game, that target's mostly dead, unless Duke has become an absurd level of tanky by the end of the game. So the pushing lanes are in the favor of the ROX Tigers from this draft phase. Bunch of ranged champions, very squishy if it goes to late games, which could lead to some series-deciding shockwaves, but SKT would have to get to that point because the early pressure is in the favor of the Rocks Tigers.
If we want to see what Bengi does here in this matchup, we've seen Lee Sins that can get contested so hard because they are at a jungle disadvantage. Actually start on blue side early, pick up the blue buff themselves to make it spawn at least as soon as they can and go for full clear early on. It's actually something Peanut likes to do on Lee Sin himself. I wonder if Bengi has watched those VODs and is going for that attempt, because it could actually mean that he could outmaneuver Peanut in the jungle, because it's quite an unexpected start.
And Bengi, in the 2 games he has played this series, has substantially outfarmed Peanut. First game, Olaf versus the Elise. Peanut was doubling his CS at the 10-minute mark. Next game he had Nidalee, so it was a little bit expected with the champion matchup, but Bengi has really had a heck of a series.
And it's not the first time that Bengi has low-key carried SK Telecom T1 to a playoff win. Spring 2015, they had a semifinal against CJ Entis, back when Tom was the replacement for Bengi. And SKT goes down 0-2 in the series. Bengi comes back in, reverse sweeps, and they go on to win the split, 3-0ing Tigers at the very end of it all. Here, we have the same situation. Bengi plays game 1. They say, that's nice, thanks for your time. Blank is in, though, and Blank loses 2 straight. And they say, you're right, Summoner's Rift, Mr. Jungle, Mr. Bengi, we're sorry for doubting you. Bengi's back in. He's individually 2-0 against Rocks Tigers here in this set, and looking to make it a personal clean sweep, bringing SKT into the finals in this final game of the series.
Yeah, just such a series, the one we've been waiting for. And I agree with you on that Bengi point. For every superhero, they do in a sense need a sidekick, right? If Faker is Batman, Bengi is definitely Robin. No one will put Robin on their top 20 superheroes in the world, but Batman definitely needs him. And that's been Faker and Bengi's relationship, winning 2 world championships together, the only players to ever do so.
And they're on the way to a third. Half of all of the world championships would have gone to SKT if they can finish through on this series and on the next one in Los Angeles next weekend. It comes down to this game. Smeb gets the Jace that was banned in the 4 games leading in. We know he's had a great series, and now he gets a dominant lane. Jace Poppy can turn either way, but I feel like you want to be the Jace in this one. You want to be Smeb here.
Yeah, let's track the jungle stars. There's no information on either side. There's a double leash here. Obviously, as Jet mentioned in the last game, there is fake leashing potential. So until these junglers get spotted, but right now both teams are under the assumption that the enemy jungler started on top side somewhere.
Yeah, and so many of these games have started with an insane focus on the bottom lane because of the crazy MF picks and the jungle pathing's always going towards them. But here we have the Jace finally making it through the pick and ban phase. Smeb, hailed as the best player in the world coming into the tournament, has been a little bit inconsistent in his play, but Rocks still have a chance to win. And now he's on a champion who almost needs to crush lane to be effective. Smeb needs to shine here.
But you look, he's already playing so far forward here, just denying CS here. Yes, Duke gets the experience. In most Poppy matchups, Poppy has gone down into Jace about 30 CS early on. Then once the items start rolling in, that 30 CS disadvantage stays relatively static, but the pressure is almost always on Jace's side.
The question is, when is he going to accept pressure? We know and can kind of assume that Bengi started top side on the red buff, and Peanut's coming to help already.
Yeah, and this could actually prompt an extremely early dive. It depends on the amount of harass that Smeb would get, who's actually turning towards mid lane. Faker without cleanse.
Level 2.
Kuro with the flash snare.
Into the pillar, forcing flash. That forces flash and ghost.
It's a good plan, but it's executed poorly.
I don't think they're going to get the dive, but it is damage.
Yeah, there's a chance they'd be able to get the kill if they wait a little bit longer on that, but getting both summoners will really diminish the pressure Faker can have in the mid lane.
But the tension is there because Peanut kind of called out that play. Again, he only waits for 3-4 seconds. He was on the way back when his mid laner flashed in. But right now, we're seeing these 3 pushing lanes come to fruition here. That's exactly why Peanut does not want to waste time ganking. Because with 3 pushing lanes, you want to finish your jungle as fast as you can, start getting control of the river, and start spotting where Bengi is in his jungle.
So much going on right now. Rocks Tigers definitely have the tools for the early pressure, but yeah, that blue handoff is going to help Faker a lot.
But they're going to know. Yep. They're going to know that Bengi started red buff. His Scrugs are still up here. Bengi's going to technically be behind in camp still if Peanut decides to outpace here.
Right, and the natural move here for Peanut, I feel like, is to try and make his way up to the top lane. They know that Bengi just handed off the blue buff. He could recall and run immediately down to the side, because now we're talking about the information Peanut is working with. So if he does want to gank the top lane, he has to go relatively quick.
Ooh,
He sneaks in.
Sneaks by. We don't know where he is right now. Here does Bengi. Bengi's gonna know the Scuttlecrab has just been taken down.
Now he has to get really scared, and he
But
also
does he
has to
guess
tell
wrong?
Duke to worry out a little bit.
Oh, there he
The
is.
Brash, there it is. It's Peanut. A lot of damage down. 300 HP on Bengi. The repel the chase. Couple more attacks. The flash. One more Q will get him. And Peanut solo kills for first blood.
He reads the game. The blue buff handoff again cost SKT too much. It already happens in the series. When Faker walks back into lane with blue buff, it is not worth the information cost against a team so good as the Rocks Tigers.
And how clutch Peanut with that move. Also burning 2 summoner spells from Faker and the flash, but Gorilla, bubble!
Re-engage. Look at the damage output on towards him. 100 health left from the Zyra Prey. Weaving in a couple of auto attacks. Getting a decent chunk down on towards Wolf and Bang. But look at what they can do with this Nami. Another volley comes
Teleport.
through. But it's Smeb on... No, it's actually Kuro on the chase. He's got no flash, but he's going to land slow into a whole bunch of CC, and it forces Bang to flash out.
Oh my goodness, the early pressure by Rocks is already mounting on SKT. SKT cannot lose these lanes too.
Yeah, and
badly.
Bengi just wants to slow down Kuro. He doesn't care that he's spotted here, but he just wants to give this a major hit to Kuro's economy, because not only is playing against a blue buff Faker, he left lane, losing some experience here. This in turn frees up Faker, unspotted. They're looking to react here because both Bray and Gorilla are so low. They were looking to burn chip damage or just simply die to bot lane.
Scouts the red buff. They're very low level, but it
works
would
big.
be a 4v2, so they're...
Bangy.
Peanut
And it's
there
finally
again!
Peanut there again to push the Lee Sin out, but be careful because Bangy wants a bit more. Won't chomp for any extra.
Every move you make, every step you take, Peanut is watching you in your jungle if you're Bengi. The mental blow this must be. 2 times does he attempt to make a play. Twice in that brush is a nasty spider link.
And there was one other time in this tournament where the Rocks Tigers were 1 game away from elimination. It was Rocks Tigers against CLG in the group stage. Peanut played Elise in that game, got an early kill, and rushed Sorcerer Shoes. Then he went on to get 10 kills in that game. He's looking to do that again. He has been in the right place. He's going a build to try and carry, and now it's all about whether or not he can carry Rocks to the finals.
The early Sorcerer's Shoes. It's all about how much damage he can do to other champions. That's the test for him. He's out of mana right now. He's kind of stuck in spider form farming. What he can do next.
Just like we've seen the past few games, Rocks, first they use the information where Bengi is. They extrapolated it from Faker's blue buff, and they play around it. In all this time, Smeb has continuously been pushing the top lane without any repercussions because he knew exactly where Bengi was at every single moment here. And that's the power of the Rocks early game. They just find their opponent jungler and play around it.
Smeb actually allows Duke to recall. I believe he had the ability to stop it and said, no, I'd rather you go back to the base. I want to shove this in and get my own quick recall.
Yeah, Smeb also wants to get items of his own. There is the beginning of some armor for Duke, but he's not quite there yet. So I'd expect about another 10 CS advantage to creep up to ganking bottom lane. And Rocks Tigers of the team have this setup. They have 2 pink wards in this bottom side. That's the lack of vision from SKT. They get him again.
Another stun into the root, into all the damage, and yes, they pick him off. Prey gets Wolf. 2-0 Rocks Tigers.
And I said 2 pink wards. It's actually 3 pink wards to set up the bottom game, making sure nothing can see him on the approach up a sec from a hawk, except for a hawk shot.
And while it is a great play from Peanut, we have to question Bang and Wolf here when the opposing team comes back to lane with 2 pink wards. You spotted them, you know this far before. Why would they invest so heavily in vision? You should be afraid of this brush here, but again, Peanut walks in, waits 2 seconds, gets a cocoon. This guy is so efficient.
Yeah. You definitely do have to criticize Wolf for walking past his minion waves. The only way he dies is if the cocoon hits him, and he actually had the minions there, which could block. Peanut's feeling good.
This guy ganks.
This guy knows how to play League of Legends.
Oh man, looking to get a little bit more. HP on the red buff, grabs it down. Not too big of a problem right now. Peanut level 6.
And I just love how chill they are on stage. They lose the 2nd or the 4th game. They couldn't knock that SKT out of the tournament. They walk off stage, they're all smiling. They're joking around. They know it's still possible. These guys have such great teamwork.
And also, both teams right here need to display a high level of endurance. And the fact that Rocks Tigers is bouncing around just speaks to how much energy they have. They have been on stage playing in some of the most tense games of their entire lives. The semifinals for the World Championship for 5 hours, and they're still so bouncy and full of energy. Rocks Tigers, definitely a good start to the game.
Yeah, it's almost 11 o'clock at night. Oh, time for the flash. The kick on a Gorilla. The Q lands as well. He flashes to get back towards his tri-brush, but has nowhere to go. Wolf, sadly for SKT, is the one to secure the gold. The 300 going to support Nami, the worst recipient, but it is still a great kill for Bengi.
Yeah, they did need to kind of dump damage on him because Prey would have been able to move up a bit with the heal, but that's a huge boon to be able to get a little bit back into this laning phase right here. Unfortunate for SKT that it's actually a Cloud Drake. The Ocean Infernal around all would have been better in this situation.
Yeah, but they've lost also 2 of their pink wards here, so major hit right there to the vision. Look at Bengi. Just scoots in through. Challenging Gorilla as he sets for the vision. Totally unexpected.
And instant decision making as well. Kicks him, throws the Q immediately, makes it so Gorilla can't dodge it. Then he delays on the follow through from his Q because he was trying to get the most execute damage possible on that play.
Yeah, it was such a surprise that Gorilla wasn't ready to flash. The fact that Bengi, instead of walking over for a potential kick, he just simply went for the flash kick. So many players are so used to Lee Sin's walking up for kick flash that they didn't expect that the old variant is still entirely viable play.
Well, Bengi's been around a while. He knows all the
He's old school.
tricks.
Or
This
maybe
is
he's just
real
getting
dangerous.
old.
Well, results don't lie, though. So far, Bengi has done pretty well for himself. Yes, he's been caught out once or twice by Peanut, but that was more excellent play by the Rock Tigers junglers than objective mistakes from Bengi himself. So far, pretty good for him.
And as expected, 30 CS deficit here, even over 30. From Smet pushes up, gets a ward, gets rid of the pink ward. He just wants to keep pushing. There's no dive attempts anymore. The earliest you can dive a Poppy is like level 3, 4, but after that you probably shouldn't attempt it anymore.
Yeah, especially. The one thing that does help is that Peanut's a more magic damage dealer right now, so the Chain Vest doesn't really help against Elise, but yeah, the difficulty is still there. Poppy ejects one, focuses the other, hides in her turret.
Steadfast presence as well cancels Jace leap forward,
Yep.
a little bit of damage. At least Q is
Elise
annoying
Q, yep.
to cast. So let's look at the bottom side of the map here. That's where the action was focused. And Prey, or Bangwater has Arrow online. And Prey and Gorilla know exactly how potent that single ability is.
Gorilla's flashless.
Yeah, and this is also where SKT drafted to try and take the edge. They picked the Ashe and the Lee Sin when Jace was up, so they want to be able to control the bottom side of this map.
Ooh, Shockwave's gonna land all the damage they need! And Peanut fails to repel it. What a great kill for SKT.
Or even just flash it here. SKT, the mid-jungle synergy is back.
They have been developing it for years, but as you say, Peanut, maybe with fatigue, maybe so much confidence, thinking that he'd be able to just walk out of that, gets caught in the CC chain, and there goes the jungle control. It's in the side of SKT.
And it's something I was...
Oh, this is just so huge.
Oh, yeah.
This turret.
This is this turret falling rapidly, taking the focus fire. Cannon Wave is there. Prey wants to wave clear. Faker says, don't you dare, I'll tank for the minions. Gorilla blocks the arrow. Sure, everyone's playing it right, but at the end of the day, when it's all played properly, it's SKT who gets the first turret of the game and a gold lead.
And that's the Orianna pick into the Karma. It scales better, and eventually, if you give it 2 blue buffs, it will also roll much better. Lost Chapter plus blue buff, so hard to deal with, even if you're Karma, which means Faker and Bengi are in the jungle first. And to go for this play, really hard to spot, honestly. Well played by Faker.
He was on the very edge of the shockwave. He didn't flash because I don't think he thought it would hit him. Now he invades.
But there's teammates around. Duke also teleporting to come down to the bottom lane at the same time here, because Eb was already in there looking for a play, and it's a 2-man knockback by Duke, still rooted up by Prey. Can a bit more happen? Yomu's means the flash comes out of Duke.
We're going to have to see the setup to that play again because I believe he teleported in to save Faker, and this is where the game is kind of descending into chaos.
And Peanut, in the recipient of this chaos, taking plenty of damage. Get away with this for now. 700 gold lead SK Telecom T1 plus the Cloud Drake defending mid lane.
But SKT playing macro again. They take tier 1 tower bump. They swap their 80 carry to the top lane. They need a hold here, though. That's a wave clear shockwave partly from Faker, but it's not enough.
Yeah, the minion wave still coming from the back. This is an extension of such a long play. They get a lot of damage on the mid lane turret.
And Tidal Wave means 2 turret shots on the Prey, who's now too low to fight easily.
Yeah, Spiderlings could tank for a while, but SKT is buying time here. They're trading turret for turret. Mid lane turret is pivotal, though, in the defense. SKT is holding on. The better macro play wins here.
Oh, and this is fascinating. Bang Seasson with the hawk shot.
Shock Blast lands.
Stop flash and heal.
And he has the ulti as well.
And for a series that is mostly played around Rock's Tigers getting control of the side lanes and having Faker win in the mid lane, it's so fitting in the 5th game how SKT nearly take both side lane turrets while their mid lane turret is the one that is low. It has been such a close game, and Bengi caught by Peanut.
And it's Bengi trying to get away. He's only in range for one more shot, and he's got a Kuro, actually. Beautifully executed. Rock's Tigers do find their way in.
And they handed over the red buff to Prey 2 with the final shot right there. Just before the turrets fall, everybody gets in time to defend them, respectively mid and top lane here. It is ironic that the mid lane turret is to fall, but it's also because it's Faker leveraging advantage from his mid lane into the other lanes, especially what SKT need. He was spending so much time in the bottom lane here. Slowing down the teleport, he gets out.
Yeah.
Lands, Duke could have canceled.
Yeah, Duke definitely should have canceled that one. Faker was in trouble, but he had already ghosted to being mostly in safety, and that burns both of Duke's summoner spells. He can't maintain pressure in the bottom lane, and then that also makes the rotation a little bit easier for Rox because they know that Duke can't threaten or help hold that mid lane, so game stays very close.
Alright, the next real objective on the map is this tier 1 tower in the top lane for SKT. Most other turrets are defendable, there's no rotations possible, so it's River Vision and top tier 1 where the fight will be most centered around.
And interesting how they've actually had Kuro down in the bottom lane. They're very much doing the double TP as we've seen a lot in this series and trying to set up the 1-3-1. Duke doesn't have teleport, neither does Kuro. It leaves wave clear in this lane for Smeb, and really, based on these really peculiar map rotations, I actually feel like SKT does have the pressure advantage, and they're the ones trying to get that outer turret you talked about.
That's why they want it. They also have the looming threat on the Ash Arrow. Anytime could strike from Fog of War.
Definitely the case. It's one shot could result in a kill if Bang can land it. We'll see. It's a very tight one. 400 gold only separates these two squads. Spot in the finals on the line for this single game. Peanut has had a pretty good amount of early pressure on that trademark release, a champion we know he's been so good at. Gets pushed to. He found other advantages though as well. The shockwave's gonna hit Gorilla. He flashed up, but not in time. Faker gets the kill. Now the re-engage though. It snipes on toward the mid laner. Then back towards Wolf, and just not enough damage really dealt. The knockup in for Duke means a bit more towards Smeb. Half HP 1000 on the Jace. Now looking for a bit more. They're not gonna find Bangi for much of it. Rox Tigers 4v5.
But the fatigue is definitely kicking in here for Rox Tigers. This is multiple shockwaves that should have been flashed.
And Faker is on point right now with Orion. You have to give him the credit of these shockwaves being right on the edge. And yes, they've been on stage for 5 hours. They have missed a few of the flashes. But if Faker wants to take back that title, this is when he has to do it.
He's got to do it now in this game. Rooted to Faker the damage. But wow, Peanut gets shut right out still. The turret does go through to Rox Tigers. That's an advantage still for the blue side. Putting that gold right back to equal. 26-3 to 26-5. And a reset.
These are the tense game 5s you're hoping for. We're 200 gold difference, 1 turret to 1, 3 kills to 3, 17 minutes into the game.
It's hard to tell, but it feels like Rox is a little bit playing on a timer because their mid laner just becomes so obsolete later in the game. Kuro is already behind the CS.
Gorilla lands the root. He's going to go for the knockup following on to Duke. That's going to force the flash out, but how much more can he do? Ulti is down, so there's no disengage tools easily for Duke. But he's too durable.
It is so hard to kill the Poppy as Jace once he's got these items. This is why you get an early CS lead on Jace, but then Poppy neutralizes. Sunfire Cave, Ninja Tabi, plus the bonus armored magic resist Poppy just gets from her kit. Insane.
It's going to be Cloud Drake going down SKT. Double Cloud Drakes here. It's going to be a trade basically for pressure on the top side. Rox trying to push that one down. There's no one really defending, just the Poppy. Maybe this gets turned in, but SKT still wanting to pressure more. 4 members near the mid lane, but not really sticking through for the pressure.
I can't help but laugh at the Drake spawns in this game. We had triple Infernal, triple Ocean, triple Mountain,
and
we're
now
gonna have triple Cloud in the 5th game.
SKT probably not too happy with that one though.
No, not at all. But the thing is, they're gonna be so fast, right? And that actually does matter, Crepo, as much as we like to criticize Cloud Drake. It's not as good as the other ones, but it's not without its advantages, guys.
So in my sample size of 1 each, the only Drake that lost was triple Infernal. All right? Double Mountain 1, triple Ocean 1, triple Cloud win could mean SKT goes through to prove once and for all Infernal is the worst Drake and Cloud's the best.
Definitely the worst. Bang facing right now. He's coming from Fog of War, so this means momentum for SKT. They have more bases on average on their champions. They're looking for Q on top. They want to...
He's in range for a play. Q's going to land onto Smeb. The kick flash, the knockback's not in time. Here comes the rest of it. A nice tackle for Duke. The tidal wave, the bubble, all the damage they could need. Kuro's trying to help. And can they get Bangi? Yes, it's a 1-for-1. Now the re-engage on Duke. Deadly Flourish misses, but Curtain Call could land. Slow on the Wolf. Baker comes to help, and he forces the flash out of prey. And it's now the re-engage. Look at the damage Bang can deal. Kuro in danger. Another slow comes out of Kuro. 1-for-1.
And this is SKT kind of pulling the trigger too early. They had Ashe coming from base with item advantage. They didn't need to kill Smeb. Just get him away from the minion wave and look for the objectives. That was what Rox was doing so well. When they were playing the Ashe, they always tied in the kills to the objectives. SKT tunneled too much on the SMEP kill, did not expect Cure to teleport.
And that's the big thing. The AP Karma in the mid lane has insane shields. Bengi executes this gank quite well, getting the kickback as Smeb is using the disengage. But with the Karma teleporting in, it's just a Nami, a Lee Sin, and a Poppy. They really don't have that much burst. They end up coming in for the trade kills, and the Ashe Arrow flies wide. No teleport. Can they get Kuro?
He's flashed away from the bubble, and yeah, you're right. The teleport from Duke means ultimately nothing. It's a trade of Summoner's TP for Flash.
Ooh, and this is really good for Rox Tigers, because in all that exchange, they have teleport advantage on Smeb out of all people, who has really good side lane pressure. So right now, they can take the momentum, start playing the map.
Yeah, and in a game this close, every little bit of gold counts. And when you can fell turrets as a Jace, that's huge. He already has the push on the bottom side. SKT is forced into responding to this one.
Bang is nowhere close.
And neither is Kuro, though, and Kuro has no teleport. SKT knows this.
Peanut and Bengi trade a few blows. Duke nearly invincible, but still some damage down to this turret as the Poppy gets poked down a little bit by Syra, but yeah, not too much gain. Peanut and Frey walking back through the side and out of range of everything else. No Q gonna land for Bengi. Arrow goes in the face, and Frey is not long for the world. There's the kill coming through to Duke himself. SKT still on the chase, though. Can they get a slow on a Gorilla? No, not just yet. Rox Tigers forced to disengage. Kuro clears mid.
Prey felt so good about that sidestep on the Lee Sin Q, and then out of nowhere, look at how Faker as well, blocking the wave clear in the mid lane from the Karma so they can actually get access to the turret.
That's the turret.
Yeah, mid lane turret down, top lane turrets at a sliver as well. SKT trying to take all the outers. How fitting that Prey, the Ashe of the day, gets caught by Bang's Ashe Arrow. That pick has been so pivotal in this semifinal series, and they get Gorilla. Gorilla's flash.
Maybe a little bit more tidal wave, and Faker blowing up, but Gorilla can be next. No, a great flash with the shield. Now the chase is slow from Kuro. Duke disengages one. It's Smeb out of the fight, but it could still be enough. No, the repel not in range to find a target.
And Crepo, you mentioned SKT going a little bit preemptively in the top lane. They do it again in the bottom lane. They do not have total vision control. Faker tries to take a shortcut to a fight where they pick people without damage. They landed the bubble, but didn't actually have the follow-up that they could get onto Gorilla. Everyone on Rox gets away. Faker gets picked off.
And just as you said, everybody's looking so much at Zyra being picked off. You gotta be respectful and mindful of Fog of War. Gorilla has his flash in the end. Good disengage here by Duke. He's definitely doing his role.
A 22-minute Baron.
Lee Sin is alive, but no smite right now for Bengi, and it won't be up in time. But they don't know that. Okay, 2,700, but he can't do it with smite. It's going to be all about this. He's in the pit, and it's the kill on the Peanut. Better fight for either side, and it goes to Smeb to try to save the game. But it's so many kills coming through for SKT. Smeb cannot pick up Bang, and it's a 4-for-0.
What the hell just happened? Bengi goes in. He stops Peanut from being able to secure the Baron, but then he leaves the pit. He had the Baron smite. He didn't want to die, even though they caught Rox doing the Baron at 20 minutes, which is a high-risk play. They don't get the Baron, I don't think. No, Jace got the Baron, but they do get the kills and they can push mid.
Kuro, the one surviving member. Now the question is, how much does SKT get? Of course, it's early in the game, so it's only one turret. The Baron power play overall, of course, negative 1,000. Maybe more now, 1,900.
Even though Bengi didn't get the smite right there, it's still a hero play. He gets the pink ward in, he goes, and look at all the damage Peanut takes from the back spikes, from the Baron right there. Then the volley hits him, the arrow hits him, the kick hits him, and he falls. And then Bengi would die, but he didn't even have smite up when he was going for that. So he does jump outside of the pit, and disaster strikes for Rox Tigers there. They're lucky it wasn't worse.
Yeah, don't need smite. The illusion of smite is enough.
Just kill the enemy jungler.
And Peanut, like, he juked the Lee Sin Q. I was wondering why he just wouldn't take that. Then move to the side. Honestly, somebody else should be blocking the axis of the Lee Sin there and have Peanut on the side going for the execute. Obviously, very easy for us to analyze outside the fact, but you got to be ready for it if you want to commit to a 20-minute Baron in a Game 5 against SKT to keep your chances for the Summoners Cup alive.
And it just speaks to the situation we're in right now, the high-pressure situation. Rox tries to take a giant risk. It doesn't
gotta
pay
be
off.
careful. He's going to jump to the minion. The heal comes in, and he will get away with it. But that is still Summoner heal down from Frey to keep his jungler alive. SKT control the vision around this Drake.
Yeah, and third Cloud Drake is just going to make them even so much faster. Also means they can't get a fourth Cloud Drake. They're guaranteed to get a better one next.
say better. Oh, it's Smeb getting caught up with this one, though. Jumping over to the minions, trying to get away from Bang. Thankfully not slowed by the volley, and he is going to get his life out of this one. But the Q's going to land. The tackle, the knockup, they want Kuro. The kickback on a prey. That's already one. Will it get two? Looks like yes, Bangy secures it. And SKT on an absolute tear, looking for more. Chased by Faker, stays alive. Thanks to help from Wolf. The re-engage Bangy is low. Smeb tries to carry the fight. Just a clean 2 for 0. No stun's going to land, and he gets out.
Some really pressured plays coming out of these guys. Faker flashing into the turret, unable to get the final kill, but they still get 2 off of the pick, and SKT need to calm down. They have a huge goal lead, they have the experience, they have the track record, and they are in a position to go to the finals if they play this
They
out.
just forced a negative 3,200 dirham power play on the enemy team. They shouldn't be this erratic, but they're buying into, honestly, the hype of this series right now. They find Smep early. Look at the way Duke and Bangy magically connected here.
Oh my.
The range extension on the Q actually allows Bangy to get behind the enemies.
Yeah.
The fact that Poppy Flash eased him closer was a Bangy delivery system to get that kick in place.
It was gorgeous. Then Faker tries to go for the execute on a Smith, misses his QW combo, and they do get out of that with still a hugely positive play. At this point of the game, there is still vision control for Rocks. They have a pick composition, but they are getting crushed in the scaling war. Deathcap Orianna, hugely tanky Duke that no one can kill right now.
Yeah.
So Rocks need to make weird plays happen to throw SKT off their game.
It's a 4,000 gold deficit for Rocks Tigers. SK Telecom T1 have weathered the storm, and they're now making the move. With the triple Cloud Drake, they run insanely fast. They can make the rotations happen, get where they need to be on the map. And they've got the gold lead to make sure those fights finish in their favor. Now a red buff attempt for the steal. Duke in towards Peanut. Look at the damage he's got on that. Peanut has no damage back to him.
We talked about the way that Jace Poppy matchup can swing, how Poppy can exit that lane at 30 CS negative, and that's still okay. You then add 5 kills to that equation. It's actually even gold with the Jace right now, which is insane because the Poppy just feels so much stronger. So take that 4,000 gold lead and add to it because of the scaling advantage of that Poppy in the Jace matchup.
Definitely, because he just has another shockwave right here. Gorilla getting knocked around.
Arrow into everything else they could need. A 2-man knockup, and Bangy wants maybe a bit more, but he bites off more than he can chew. That's 1-for-1 jungler for support down, but look at this. Duke is invincible, and the bot lane turret's already dead. Maybe not as invincible as we think, though, still getting worn down, but Svev goes for a shot onto the back line. Another root onto Duke, gets healed up again by the Nami, and just no damage really comes through on this one. But it's going to be the shot and a bang! Deadly Flourish picks him off, and now it's a numbers lead for Rocks Tigers. Shock Bless land, also a slow in for Kuro, and he gets the chain. He gets the root, but not going to get it all the way, and Duke is able to walk out.
Not
Deadly
only
Flourish, though,
is Duke so tanky, the fact that Orianna's shield gives you additional resistances and shield as well makes it impossible for him to go down because it takes such a long time to whittle him down. If they get access to anybody behind Duke, that's the way Rocks can strike.
Wolf can also heal. Notice the shockwave hits Peanut. The Ash Arrow hits Gorilla, though, as Peanut had repelled up, and they secure this kill. And SKT is hoping to dive with impunity right here, but the turret locks onto Bang, which delays the follow of what they wanted to support Bangy with. Still a poor play by Bangy to go in before. Then it just kind of goes to show how Rocks is trying to play this poke game, and they are landing enough skill shots to make it count. Bang picks up a little damage from the bouncing grenade, gets finished off by the Deadly Flourish.
the rest of this chase, it's Rocks trying, but not able to quite secure it. No CC was really left to be had, and everyone else able to disengage properly. But now, the play towards topside. They do see Faker, and the Cocoon's not going to land, though, so can they get anything else? The flash chase, it's Smeb onto his face, looking for a little bit more, and he's not going to go down. Faker, with just the ghost, gets away with it.
He knew they were coming. The second Gorilla charged at him in an empty lane. He did a minor step upwards, forcing the Cocoon to ever so slightly miss. This leaves mid lane exposed, but Prey is here to defend. But that was so close. Faker saw the enemy support running at him. He knew he was getting ganked, and then the Cocoon was just a hair short.
Just a hair short, and just a split second off from flashing away from the shockwave, and so many incredibly slim margins that could decide this series. And that's what makes the best players the best. The ability to perform in clutch situations like this. Faker in a bad position, able to make the miraculous escape.
And now the margin remains at 5,000 gold, and it's SKT taking control over Baron. It spawns right now. and it's the red team. It's SK Telecom T1, defending world champions who hold the cards, who can make the play to secure this game.
And for SKT, it's all about calming down and finding the standard fight.
Yep.
They have a huge tank. They have a traditional mage in the Orianna. They have a supportive backline. They have standard team fight lines. So they need to find a standard team fight against Rox, who is all squishy, all poke, all pick. If Duke can just get in with a strong front line and push them back, that's how SKT wins.
Immediate tidal wave.
SKT, there is a solution to this puzzle. They just need to lay down the pieces in the right order, and they leave Rox with no counterplay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Duke flanking, he can return to the bot lane. He's just checking for vision. He's just securing his own push down to the bot lane, 1-4. First, you get the mid lane control. That's what Bang is doing right now. Look at how far he's contesting here because there's no pickoff.
Gotta be careful.
Ooh, yeah, Bang getting away with that one. Not going to get rooted up either, but the funny thing is...
Yeah, the risk there. If Bang misses the sidestep, he's dead.
You don't know. But Peanut doesn't know. He doesn't want to face it because he sees 3 members in the mid lane. This is so created by SKT. The guts it requires to call this Nasher.
Faker's half health, half mana. If they chase them down, they'd get the kill. They need to get the Baron and get out of there.
That's going to be secured. Now is there going to be a fight on the backside? Because it's a Baron buff and a 6,000 gold lead for SK Telecom T1, and it's not going to be any kind of fight at all.
The Rox Tigers step into that abyss thinking that the Baron at worst was at 7,000 health. They walk in and 2 seconds later it drops, and that's when they know they got played. Faker and Bengi, the dynamic duo, Batman and Robin, they return and they take down the Nasher. They just sneak it. While Bang is just playing so far up, relying on his individual prowess to sidestep Deadly Flourish.
Faker and Bengi, the best duo queue of all time. They're just the difference between Rox's Baron Sneak and SKT's Baron Sneak. Peanut couldn't quite make it there in time.
Lands
zoned out.
Cocoon on a Bengi. That's clutch, and a quick shot on a Wolf as well. Means a half health Nami. Rox Tiger's able to slink away, but they've got to now withstand an SK Telecom T1 Baron. And even to add insult to injury, what I think is the best one they could have gotten, a Mountain Drake now. So they can knock down turrets even better next time around.
And honestly, Duke right now, coming to the series, the liability of SKT. Almost every single game, if not all, Duke has had side lane pressure over Smeb, whether it's due to picks or play. But now later in the game, this Poppy is still showing up. He's definitely doing his role so well.
And Duke is a spectacular player. If you criticize him, it's been in times his inability to play with the rest of SKT, but even throughout the LCK regular season, he was the best top lane laner. He's had his hiccups throughout Worlds, like getting solo killed by Looper, but he has held his own and then sub against Smeb in this series.
He's been absolutely a clutch part of this Game 5 win. 5-0-3 on the Poppy, definitely a great scoreline. The split push pressure is great with the Baron buff he's got. Bang, though. A lot of damage, has to pop QSS to get away.
Yeah, SKT going for the Divide and Conquer, really fighting against Rox, splitting them up, just making those individual leads count more. Faker again, this time it's in time.
He repels away, so okay, it's all right for him, but now
counter.
Curtain calling the re-engage, but Tidal Wave says no, don't you dare, and Peanut getting lower and lower. Root on a Bangy means it's going to be a quick disengage, but Peanut has to heal up.
Yeah, and SKT's just buying time right now. Duke never joined that fight. He's just getting these outer turrets down. He's trying to accrue a larger gold lead for SKT so they can just build up as this game progresses. We keep talking about the Jace and the Karma that are going to be outscaled by the Poppy and the Orianna, and SKT know that as well. They can't get picked off.
SKT is not on the clock. They just need to disengage here. Look, preemptive flash from Wolf. And there is no longer that tool that drags Rox into the game. The Ash Arrow was taken away by SKT. They're fine going for the next Nasher. They're fine waiting for Elder Dragon. They have 4 dragons. Even if Rox contest it and steal it, it doesn't give them a bonus whatsoever. And that's the reward of having immaculate dragon control in this final game.
Definitely look good for them. So now we're going to have it reset shortly. 30 seconds left for most of them having Baron. Faker will have another 30 afterwards. He can make one more empowered minion wave ride into the turrets of Rox Tigers. It'll be the reset. It'll be the 8,000 gold lead recall. SKT to buy their last few items. Guardian Angel onto Duke. But even though Lord Dominix is in now for Smeb, he's got as much armor pen as he can realistically buy now at this point in the game. He still is going to have a terrible time trying to shred through this Poppy. Prey himself also just not a great tank killer. Even if he's got armor pen too, it's Gorilla who needs to finish a Leandri's Torment, and he about puts over Sash.
Exactly, and the builds that Jason Jin are going for are the mid-game power spiking builds, and the mid-game is being completely delayed. They land the arrow onto Gorilla, but he does have the Mikhails.
Yeah. QSS is out. He's going to be all right with that one.
Oh, QSS, rather.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I get those backwards too. Don't worry. And now it's the push forward. SKT wearing the Baron buff of Faker. Time's out just now, though. So I'm going to poke off the minions.
But Duke again in the side lane, always lurking, always pushing, just adding some pressure, making sure that SKT do not have to bunch up. Because if you play on split lanes, you always have an opportunity to do something. Whether it's peel off for vision, send somebody back to base, keep the map somewhat open at least.
SKT on the verge of punching their ticket to the finals if they win one more team fight, awaiting the winner of tomorrow's match, Samsung Galaxy versus European LCS H2K. And no! That is Prey. Burning both summoners for just the Shockwave of Faker, though. That is a positive trade for SKT.
And this is the cycle that SKT is playing. They have a lot of cooldown reduction on Faker. He uses the Shockwave. If Rox doesn't flash it, they're dead. They lose the inhibitor. If they do flash it, it means the next time they can still cycle it because of the low cooldown. It does, though, mean that SKT need to pull away a little bit because Rox would want to attack while the Shockwave is down.
25 seconds, though, and it's back up. Next minion wave that shows up basically is one with Shockwave, and now everyone on Rox has to be afraid of that again.
And Faker can put that Shockwave down every 48 seconds. Contrast that to a flash. He could get every single flash in cooldown in succession by the time the first one is up again.
But we also talk about fatigue and pressure. Faker randomly Zonia'd after he walked back in lane, so
Style it.
definitely...
You gotta style your way to finals.
He wants the gold medal in the game. He wants the gold medal in the tournament. Let's turn himself gold just to make sure. Or just reflecting the level of that play by popping a Zonia'd out of combat. Who knows? Either way.
The biggest thing is he should sell that potion for a pink ward. He sells it for a needlessly large rock.
Worth
I'll
it.
take it.
Yeah. Pink
Yeah.
ward or 60 AP, which would you prefer?
Only a 48 second. I would definitely, if you're Faker, you want to one-shot someone in this
Yeah.
game. And he only has a 48-second cooldown on his command Shockwave, so that's why he's so free with it. That's a minion wave and a half, essentially, when he's able to use it. Elder Drake up in 1 minute, same with Baron. The vision control is so critical right now.
And it went up to leave the trade of objectives. At first, it's Bangy just getting away, gets the safeguard in time. The root doesn't matter. A fight over the red buff, and Bang is there saying, hey, I am scary. He is afraid of me. Peanut gonna go for it. Kuro getting caught out, getting for the damage. They can't quite get him just yet. Kuro staying alive, and it's Rox trying to run away. The engage continuing though. Peanut getting lower and lower, running for dear life. Here's the curtain call. But Rox Tigers do not deal damage to these tanky champions. It doesn't matter.
This is so huge, though. We've seen people flashing Faker's Shockwave. 3 flashes down now for the Rox Tigers with Elder Drake and Baron about to respawn.
Yeah, 2 objectives up, and by the time Rox Tigers arrive to contest either, once they figure out where SKT is going, Faker Shockwave is up again already.
It's available, and SKT have all the tools they need. The vision is theirs.
Oh,
Rox
going
are
pretty
flying
aggressive.
blind, turning it back in, looking for the
Here we
play.
go.
This is the fight that could punch the into the finals. Pray for Bang, and Bang wins it. Shock Blast is not enough. Bangy on the chase, not gonna get it though. Smeb knocks him back, but it is 5v4, no AD carry for Rox Tigers.
SKT do not want to wait for Rox to face sec. Instead, they take the fight to them. Faker, the threat of his ultimate, isolates Prey to the front line, leaving him exposed, and that's a dead AD carry, and that should be a free Baron, if not a free Baron and Elder.
And Faker even takes the Wolves, so Peanut can't get the Wolf Spirit Scout when they're trying to save this. They're just burning down that Baron, and Rox can't even check.
Not even a chance to let Rox Tigers back into the game. SKT playing their brand of League of Legends, no openings.
They send Duke to the top lane, have him prepare that wave. Right now, SKT fixing mid lane first. They're likely going to move into the Elder area. They don't even need to start it. They can bait Rox in, have Duke pressure with the Baron buff in the top lane, and then wait for a mistake. Remember, they have Ash Arrow and Orianna ulti as zoning tools.
And they have ward control in Rox's jungle, so if Rox comes to defend, they would teleport behind them. That is something Rox wants no part of, but now it means they have to deal with a quadruple Elemental Drake Elder Dragon, which is an immense amount of true damage every single time SKT land damage.
And about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, Peanut walked off that stage saying, one more game. But right now, he's looking up at 13,000 gold deficit, a Baron buff, and a 4 Dragon Elder.
And it's full items for everyone who matters here on SKT. Duke is fully tanky, Faker's got all the damage, and Bang has got all the damage. Slots for pink wards left in the jungle, and the support here basically. Rox Tigers up against a mountain
it's actually the perfect storm of itemization for SKT. They hit max items on all their carries while still having warding positions on their supportive positions, as they have Baron with Elder Drake. This is the push to get SKT into the finals if they execute properly.
And at this point, you figure it's almost a formality with how good SK Telecom T1 are.
Solution is clear. They just need to dodge the poke here, get it on their tanks.
The wave clear is still very good for the Rocks Tigers.
So I need to keep it split. 1-4, if not 1-3-1. That's what I want to do here. Duke is honestly the guy that's going to make the difference. Karma alone cannot deal with these creeps. Look at Duke trying to block it as well. Massive minion wave goes in, which means there's also pressure in the mid lane.
And he's going to rotate back up to that mid lane. Bang, full health, has a shield as well. And now the attacks towards the mid lane inhibitor turret. Not going to mean anything. Gorilla has to get away from the tidal wave, and the turret's down. Duke in the front line doesn't even take damage at this point. Taking it all up. Bang is fine. Smab on the side, looking for Bang, getting a bit of damage, but he's got Guardian Angel anyway. And Peanut, look at him. He's going down. One hit would have get him. He gets away just barely. Shock blast at the back line. Bang is okay, though. He's got healing.
Just the threat of Duke combined with that Orianna ball is enough to send Rocks backwards.
Baker gets low, though, actually. He might have to heal away from this one. No Ocean Drakes means that damage sticks. It's the inhibitor and the retreat.
Teleport in from Smeb. Elder Drake is now
This
gone.
is important. He can't land on the Baker. Maybe you're re-engaged, though. Does Rocks have another option? They do not, and they have to back away.
And that was the final bullet in the chamber, I feel, for the Tigers. If that hits, they can clean up, because nobody expected the Shock Blast to come out of that way.
And now their teleport is down. They've lost their mid lane inhibitor. SKT will probably have to wait for the next push. And SKT do know how to be patient right there. Yeah. They got the inhibitor down. They suffer no casualties. They continue to fly around the map with these max item builds. And they're just going to regain control and go for the next inhibitor.
Yeah, and you see how safe they play too. Their split kind of collapses every single time. They push in with Duke, he joins the fray. Right now they have a pushing mid lane. They essentially have a sixth member playing the map here. In addition to that gold and item lead and scaling lead they have. Still 30 seconds remain on that Baron buff after the initial time goes down.
Both solo laners show down to Duke, which means SKT can get quite aggressive on this turret.
And again, the tidal wave comes through. Only 3 shots in for Prey, and Bang has to be a bit careful. Does have summoners up. Nice dodge the cocoon.
And there's Mikhail and Wolf. Look how Wolf is just posturing behind. He doesn't care if his AD carry gets hit. Save him at any time.
Shock blast hits 2 though. Bangy and Wolf losing some health here.
Duke's here again. He peels off. He doesn't want to keep split pushing. He's just doing flank pressure. If he moves in, Kuro and Prey have to be so careful.
Poke continues. Bang gets hit with a shock blade. Lands, but look at this now. Down to just the inhibitor itself. A knockback. They might catch up Gorilla. Not going to have it just yet, but Prey caught out and shut down by Bangy. 5v4, and SKT could have another win on this one. Shock. Not going to land just yet.
They're still going in.
Engaged. The stun against the wall. Peanut could go down to Bangy, getting the kill again as they move on to the Nexus turrets. And it's all the FG rope for this one. SK Telecom T1 backs against the wall. Bangy himself 3-0 against Rocks Tigers in the series. And SKT punched their ticket to their 3rd World Final.
And the team rushed towards Bangy, who is 3-0 in this incredibly intense and competitive series against the Rocks Tigers. And for the Rocks Tigers, you can't help but feel their pain. They were 1 game away from taking SKT out of the World Championship, but they just couldn't finish it.
And they had so many of the pieces to... The Jace comes through, the champion that SKT were so afraid of playing against. Smeb, the best player in the world coming into the tournament, certainly the best top laner, gets his most favorite champion now in this one. Peanut had that sick early jungle play, getting the solo kill, getting first blood onto Bangy. It's SKT's teamwork, turning it around in the end.
But the Tigers went down fighting, and they delivered a fantastic series here. No matter who came out of this Game 5, is a main contender for the Summoners Cup next week.
Yeah, this was a final to many. Even if in actuality it was a semifinal, the entire Madison Square Garden crowd giving a standing ovation to these two teams who played their hearts out for 5 straight hours. And unfortunately, only one team can advance.
And you can't stress enough just how impressive it is that these guys are smiling, comforting each other after this loss. This is a brutal loss for the Tiger. The time to focus on the victors as well here. SKT bowing to the crowd.
and so many people before this tournament were speaking to SKT's jungle as what was going to be their undoing. And it almost was. Blank had some poor games. And again, the crowd chanting Peanut's name. He played his heart out.
He played his heart out. And I like that the Rocks Tigers, they stayed true to their style. They kept trying. SKT eventually figured it out, but it was so close. A couple of clutch plays in either direction, a flash here and there, an ultimate sticking, a skill shot being dodged could have been the difference in who we sent to the finals.
Yeah, and you look at the draft that they had in that last game, 2 to 3 pushing lanes and at least for Peanut. I mean, how much have we talked about pushing lanes being a catalyst for crushing people in the early game? They got that draft. SKT just went back to what they're comfortable with. They said, we were going to absorb and outplay and hope that you falter under the pressure. And a few shockwaves weren't flashed away from. SKT kept dodging ganks by just slivers of millimeters of skill shot range. And that's why they're going to the final.
I mean, honestly, an incredible series. You could break down probably 600 individual moments over the course of these 5 hours of games. That, oh, if this thing went differently, if that flash was there, if that repel was there, if that ward hop was there, so many things could have changed. I mean, the one I'm going to point out is the fact that on the attempted Baron sneak, literally the fact that SKT had double Cloud Drake got them to the pit in time to fight Rocks Tigers. Literally actually mattered and was the difference between getting there in time. That was
yet again. I wonder if they want to see if Samsung wants to ban it on blue side, or H2K has something special prepared for the first game where they're fine giving away such a power pick for 2 strong picks in their rotation. And Crown, you disappoint me.
Well, no surprises just yet in terms of the Syndra Jace Caitlyn. One last ban for H2K, running the clock down on every single pick, but no curveballs yet.
Well, yeah, and the other thing that people might be thinking we're overlooking here is the Aurelion Soul, but both of these teams have not prioritized it very highly, so we don't expect them to. Yes, the mid laners could play the champion, but I don't expect it to be a high priority. Meanwhile, the Rise was very strong from both of them, and that gives over that Nidalee. That is so big if you can get strong lanes especially, though. And H2K probably have faith in their laners to be able to collapse and protect the jungle.
And I wonder if Jankos wants to play Lee Sin against it. It's something European junglers have done in the past. You get to level 6 on Lee Sin, get double longsword, and you try and just duel the Nidalee and kind of burst her down very, very quickly. So it is a matchup. He's obviously played a lot, but it's so risky giving away the S-tier jungler to also a jungler like Ambition, who's been playing really well so far in this tournament.
Especially, yeah, I mean, Ambition's been playing the game since 2012, and he even played mid lane Nidalee. This guy definitely has the experience on the champion.
Yeah, back on Zubu Blaze, I actually had the pleasure of casting him here in New York 4 years ago when they swept the world. This time around, Ambition will be leading the way on that jungle champion. And we need to see what Pro decides to do throughout the course of this series. The other picks that have risen to popularity, Zyra and Olaf. Now the question, gentlemen, will Misfortune be played by CoreJJ? Because Reddit taught me that solo queue, both of these guys are playing it.
Yeah, and also we know Samsung has been scrimming against the Rocks Tiger, so obviously they have seen the pick in these scrims here. It was something that was played in Korean solo queue as well, even before World started. So he should have it. The Ashe is another one. Ruler has been spamming Ashe the last day, basically. The last 7 games, he's played 5 of them on Ashe.
We very well could see that same Ashe and Misfortune lane. I mean, CoreJJ was also an 80 carry previously, playing in North America as well.
Well, Madison Square Garden definitely wants to see it. There was rumbles of MF throughout the crowd.
There it is!
And the thing about MF...
It's done! It's done!
It's so good against Zyra because it's so easy to dodge Zyra's damage in the lane phase due to the extra movement speed that she also brings and the range on Make It Rain.
And Zyra does not offer any sort of sustain. There's no shielding, there's no healing, so you just keep getting poked down ever so slightly, and then when you're low enough, well, you get all in by an Ashe arrow and an MF ulti, and then you die. H2K knew about this pick. The entire world knows about this pick now, so they can't be surprised.
Here's one thing that is popping out to me, though. Previously, Samsung, trend I've seen in all of their team comps, they love having at least one tank. And Poppy is banned from the top lane. They do not have a tank in the jungle. They do not have a tank at support. Is this going to be a look from Samsung where they don't run with that solid front line because they have relied on strong 5-on-5 late game, and if you lose a tank from your team comp, it makes it really hard to face check Brush. That being said, they do have the Ashe, though, for the Hawk Shot.
Yeah, they do have some sort of way to engage Angered Vision, but there is still picks like Echo up on top, and there is None of them are great matchups against Kennen, though, so I really like this Kennen pick. When you have Jace being removed, who's the best pick against Kennen, there's really no hard lanes for him to play. So this puts Odo Amne in a pretty good situation. Let's see if they're more surprised.
I would love to see a Kled.
We've seen very little Kled so far.
I'm not believing it just yet. Not believing it just yet.
It's gotta be probably the Echo.
Let's get back to what was actually drafted then, because we didn't talk about the Sivir. Sivir's speed boost is so important for both Olaf and Kennen to be able to engage on this back line. We talked about how many ranged champions Samsung have. They have a very squishy back line. If the extra speed can allow Kennen, to dodge into the back line and get there with the Proto Belt Flash plus the Olaf follow-up, then that could be the hard engage that H2K are banking on.
And I wouldn't mind seeing something like Orianna coming in here last from Rio. He's a guy who can play so many different picks. There's still things like Malzahar as well if he wants that. Aurelion Sol, if he wants to surprise us and have something that can actually roam and impact the side lanes. Orianna was a matchup we saw yesterday, though. Faker won that matchup every time. Got a lot of pressure in lane. Could roam first. And that is something H2K needs right now because they're not going to win this bot lane easily.
Well, how about some crazy picks? We were discussing off air whether or not a last pick Kassadin is something that an EU mid laner could pull out. I don't think it's going to be the case here, but a customary harbor for Ryu Z. 10 seconds left on the clock.
It's not time yet.
No, not yet.
He's got to make it to the finals to face Faker before he pulls that one out.
Going to be the Cassiopeia, so movement speed from Sivir's going to help out, but not the longest of ranges. A little surprising to me.
Definitely a daring pick there, versus Crown's Victor, who has been, his most prolific champion, very, very strong. And he's also been able to ward off ganks very effectively, even getting return kills in like 2v1 scenarios. So definitely Samsung do have the confidence in that pick for him, even though the tank that they did end up picking, Echo, is one of those unreliable tanks that's a little bit harder to peel for the rest of the champions. Crown's gravity field have been very, very strong.
Yeah, they have enough CC coming from something like Ashe as well to kind of keep people away. Ashe can kind of peel for herself, but yeah, a little bit different pick and man face in some way, I guess. Getting a Victor for Crown always makes it very stable, though. Yeah. That's his most played champion, obviously. We see it almost every game when it is available. I think H2K, though, will have a strong top side of the map. Kennen up there is going to be good. You can definitely duel early as an Olaf, and Cassiopeia will be fine in the mid lane. So I'm expecting to see them focus on that side, but they have to look out for that level 6 bot lane with Ashe MF, because otherwise Vanda is going to die.
Yeah, we have seen that multiple times before with the Ashe MF lineup.
It worked yesterday against SKT. If it's good enough for SKT, I'm sure it's good enough for H2K. We're going to find out how these two teams perform and whether or not allowing that Victor through instead banning the Rise was the right decision. You guys jump onto Twitter, let us know. Put your voices and your hands together if you think hashtag SSG will win, or if you think the last Western team will be able to shut down support MF with hashtag H2K win. This is what is on the line. A shot at the Summoners Cup. A shot at the undoubtable strongest team League of Legends has ever seen in SKT, and one of these two will go up against them. It's the semi-final from Madison Square Garden. Samsung Galaxy taking on H2K.
And I'm glad to see MF again. We knew more teams have been playing it. So far, undefeated at Worlds, 100% win rate, 2-0. They're banned in 2 games as well in the semi-final.
Okay, well, there we go. This is going to be problems. Ambition is low! Okay, H2, what was that? They've killed Ambition!
So face check bottom lane.
Both teams did exactly the same. They wanted to send the junglers with the dual lanes down to that lane and hide in the bush. Probably was Ambition was the guy who face-checked, and that's why he died.
The observers almost even weren't ready for this. We have to replay because it happened so early.
No, the ward face check. The ward got placed on him, and he ignored the ward and walked into the bush. He saw the ward being placed right at his feet.
Let that be a lesson to you. Don't drop a ward on Ambition or he'll face check you.
Don't first pick that